Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. Bow season here at home in Illinois and Iowa is underway. We are getting our way into October. Things are getting exciting. How you guys feeling about it? I feel good. I get kind of like the game day jitters. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going to get through some business. Let me plug a few things here. Doug has been doing, because hunting season, he's doing his veteran shout-outs mobily, so we'll have one of those. And then, but yeah, going into things, if you haven't checked out the new series, Working Class on DeerCast in the Jury Outdoors YouTube, and then it launches later on our audio platform, please check that out. We have some new items in our store, some new items on the way. We have water bottles. So basically, put a carabiner on them, take it to the stand. Just one of those requested items that we should carry that we finally got in stock. Everything else is a little delayed because blah, 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 COVID bullshit, blah, blah, blah. You know how that is. The podcast is presented by Elite Archery, of course. Love our elites. You're going to hear a little bit about elite and moose hunting on this podcast, which is pretty cool. They've always performed well for us, and we feel right at home there. Big time. If you got your fall plots in, I'm kind of curious, has anybody else got hit with army worms? It's kind of a thing that's sweeping through right now. It sucks to see, but I guess it's just the factor of the unknown that plays in. Hopefully everything's fine. I got one got wiped out, but my other plots are looking great, so I'm excited to see how those perform into the late season. Spy Point trail cams, we use the Cell Link, which is we use a lot of their products, but the Cell Link is probably the most affordable if you're wanting to get into the Spy Point family. You can get them for $40 to $50, depends where you shop. You can find sales, and it links to a pre-existing trail cam, and you turn it into a cell cam. So it's kind of cool for the price. You can try it out, and the plans are cheap, especially if you join that Insiders Club. Your monthly plans are cheaper, and you get entered to win like that truck and the Rogue Ridge that we added to that package and stuff like that. So, and speaking of Rogue Ridge, I got mine ready, tuned in, did a couple cool things, threw some bungees on it for gear. Basically hold some stuff tight down there, keep things from rattling, move right in and make the move. I've used it on one sit so far. And I gotta say, yeah, the entry and exit thing is probably like the most important thing. But what I learned already from hunting one day with it up to the recording of this podcast, that is, you kind of, for the deer's nose is concerned, you kind of float in because only the rubber from the tires is hitting the ground. You're not actually walking. So if you're going in on a mowed path, it's almost like you're like gliding in. So I did that, and I was like, crap, I kind of came from where I wanted deer to come from. And they just walked it, and it wasn't like they got boogery or nothing because you're actually not stepping foot there. So I think that might be, as I'm learning, the number one thing that stands out with the Rogue Ridge bikes. Leupold Optics, sitting with those with in a bino harness and a stand, it prevents that feeling, as our buddy Michael would say, it prevents the feeling of FOMO, fear of missing out, because you can kind of like see what's over there. You can observe. When I'm sitting there, I can look further to see what's going on in more detail, and that can be the big difference in finding out what a deer is going to do on a certain wind or a certain day versus not really being able to see what's going on over there. So don't have the feeling of FOMO when you're in a tree. That's my favorite thing he said, probably, about using optics in a tree stand. Scent Crusher, shout out to them. They let us do that. Well, they had us on their live for all their social pages, and so we did a live podcast with Dan from Scent Crusher and Chase Rawson from Rubline Marketing, and got to kind of cut up with them live on there. So thanks for everybody that jumped in on that and chatted with us. We are living out of the gear bag. We're living out of the roller bags right now, running ozone cycles. Basically start your clothes and everything with a fresh slate for scent. Can't go wrong there. Novix tree stands, code Working Class 21. Man, proud to be a part of that. The new Hilo is insane. We have a giveaway going on. It'll last for the rest of this week, and then we're going to pick a winner. Awesome stuff. That stand is incredibly light. We're rocking a set of the double sticks. Instead of being offset on the foot pegs, it's one right across on both sides. So I like that for climbing, and it's just a little more comfortable if you're hanging a stand or if you're a saddle hunter standing on that top step, whatever you prefer. And Old Barn Taxidermy, dude, killing it. They're doing meat processing. They have drop-off locations. They picked up the Geyer buck. That's going. 2 replicas are being made of that. They dropped off both my bucks from last season. Doug's got his buck back. Ross has his replica of his 200 back. They're starting on his full mount. Old Barn Taxidermy is the best in the biz. I think taking over the taxidermy game by storm. And the cool thing about you guys, if you're listening to this right now, you qualify to win a free mount from Old Barn. If you get a critter and you want to get a shoulder mount on it, you take it in or take it off to a drop-off location and say, hey, I listen to Working Class Bowhunter. I heard about you guys through them. They go, oh, say less. And then they put you, see what I did? I'm like a kid there. They put you on a list to win a free shoulder mount for the following year. That's pretty dang cool. So yes, if you're a listener, that's great. If you have success this season and you're a listener, you have a chance to win a free mount. I highly recommend, even if you have a couple hour drive, check them out. It's worth it. You will not be disappointed. Let's get on with the episode.
I'm Chase Rolfson with Rubline Marketing.
This is Jeff Lindsay.
This is Michael Fitt.
Hey everybody, it's John Dudley from Knock on TV.
Hey guys, this is Jared Scheffler from Whitetail Adrenaline.
Hi, I'm Taylor Drury from Drury Outdoors.
Hey, this is Nick Munt from Bone Collector.
Hey, this is Melissa Buckman.
Working Class Bow Hunter.
Working Class Bow Hunter.
Working Class Bow Hunter Podcast.
Working Class Bow Hunter Podcast. Working Class Bow Hunter.
Working Class Bow Hunter.
Working Class Bow Hunter.
You're listening to the Working Class Bow Hunter. That's right, this is a podcast for Billy Joe Lunchbucket, the working man, just like me and you. My name's Travis T-Bone Turner from the Bone Collector. Thank you for tuning in.
Nobody pushes the envelope like Working Class Bow Hunter.
It's really not that good.
Working Class. Working Class. Working Class.
Episode 474. Kurt Geyer speaking.
Doggone, that's I'm Ross Bigger.
Austin Chandler.
And then Cody.
Cody Evans.
I don't know your last name. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
First podcast ever. We appreciate you being here. And hey, boys, how's everybody doing?
So far, so good. It's a late night.
Yeah, but you got to get it in. I mean, basically, the only reason we're recording this for everyone that's in podcast land, this is 8:30, which is late for family guys on a Sunday.
On a Sunday.
That's because we're working class of every variety. And really, Austin's a farmer, and the elevator's closed, and that's why we're here now.
And I was actually dumping in the grain bin side all day, but I called it an early day. I mean, it's not every day you get all of our schedules to line up so we can actually get this done. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to knock off early tonight. I still got a 12-hour day in, so...
I mean, yeah, you hustled.
Yeah.
And so for everyone wondering, like, where's Eric? Where's Doug? Doug's got work in the morning. Eric is at home with his wife and his new baby, Hudson. We're going to let Eric talk about that when he gets back. But he's the 2 jury episodes and the last couple episodes, he's been doing baby stuff, which, of course, right?
Yeah, we were in Alaska, so congratulations, buddy. That's
no
awesome.
kidding, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think, and everyone knows, building up, I think you killed your bull the same day his son was born.
No shit. That's awesome.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Very cool.
Pretty cool.
And what's also sad is, on my part, we're recording this podcast before my mule deer podcast because I have to wait for Clinton Devon.
Well, you got to have those guys on that one.
I have to, yeah, But I also want you guys on it too. So we'll just see what we can make happen because it's tough, man. It's tough when you got a crew and you got to align schedules. But the most important thing is you guys didn't get eaten by bears.
No.
We're still alive.
Still alive. Do you guys feel any more or less like men, or how,
I still want to pack that 10 on my chest just walking around at home.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You walk around with a 10 millimeter Glock on your chest for 10 days. You don't want to get rid of that.
I hear you.
It's part of you.
I didn't have a gun in Wyoming, but Clint did. And there was one instance I was like, man, I might want one of them. But anyway, I would much rather have it in Alaska. So I get what you're saying. Like you probably felt a little tough, a little rowdy.
We never saw any bear tracks, never saw a bear.
That surprises me. I was worried for you guys, honestly.
Well, they weren't too far from us.
There was a group up there that saw a grizzly and 4 black bears. I just told these guys, I said, just for the peace of mind, I would never go on that trip without having something on me.
Yeah.
No, because the next time you go without a sidearm, you'd see bears everywhere you looked.
It's better to have it and not need it.
I relied on these guys to keep the 10 millimeters on their chest.
You didn't have any sidearm?
No, I left it back in camp. I did. I had a 45 and I was going to take that in. We bought ammo on our way up there and I'm like, you know what?
Okay, let's go. Let's do a round table before we get into the story, all the stories. Scale 1 to 10. We'll start with Austin. How worried were you about bears going in?
2, 3.
Wow, cocky.
I mean, even if we saw one, the chances of like an encounter happening that was going to be scary, was slim to none.
Right, I know. What about you?
Oh, I was a 4 to 5 easy going in. Just because we've been black bear hunting so many times, and it's like these things they can get vicious, and we're going up there in grizzly land. Like this could change everything.
Right.
So I'm
Cody, what about
going
you?
into it. Yeah, I was on edge.
Yeah, it was kind of a 3 or 4. I wasn't really concerned about black bears at all. More grizzly.
Yeah, of course.
Like, the guys we talked to from the other camp, they actually come on a fresh kill, a moose kill that a grizzly had buried and stuff. So that'd make me a little nervous. But
Yeah, of course. I was like a 6 or 7 worried for you guys. Just because, man, you don't know. And it's like...
Well, I think a lot of guys are limited on this trip because they're scared of the grizzlies. Like my dad made the comment, he's like, I'll never go do that trip just because of the bear. And I'm never that worried about them. I don't think it's that big of an issue. Like you look at the number of fatalities or even run-ins with grizzlies up there that hunters have, it's a super low percentage. I guess I wouldn't limit yourself to go on this trip if you're afraid of the grizzlies. Like,
yeah, and I agree. I mean, I got to a certain point. It was like day 2 or 3, and I asked these guys, I'm like, "Are we even really worried about bears right now?" Yeah, I haven't carried a sidearm yet. We haven't seen nothing. Like it seems pretty safe out here.
There was one point.
That's what everybody says that gets killed by bears.
There was one point in the trip when I got pretty nervous, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
in a little bit.
Well, so I have it. I mean, honest to everybody listening to the podcast or watching. This is being videoed, and I think once you hear this podcast, I'm hoping the way it's all going to fall into place, you're going to want to watch it as well. So go to our YouTube, subscribe, comment, do all that dumb shit, and help us out there. But anyway, I don't even really know where to interview you guys about this trip because I honestly told you guys not to tell me the details so I can hear the details now while we're doing the podcast. So I guess I will roll out what questions I want to ask once I hear the stories and have questions organically. So whoever wants to start the story from whatever angle or perspective.
Yeah. Well, we've already done it. We've already done a few podcasts on this thing, so people kind of know, gear prep and how long we've been.
Yep. Yeah, we did a pre-moose trip.
We'll just do a quick little 2-minute blurb on how this whole thing got started. So a couple years ago, we've got a local buddy, Ray. Him and a couple buddies booked this trip with Papa Bear Adventures. They're out of Bethel, Alaska. Really nice operation. I mean, if you're going to go hunt for moose, there have been biologists tell people that this is the closest thing you're going to get to a guaranteed do-it-yourself moose hunt.
Mm-hmm.
So they are in the moose. Like, you're going to see animals. You're probably going to see a lot of animals up there.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, we booked this trip with them after a lot of research. We get all of our gear shipped up ahead of time. And then it's coming close to Fly Day, which was around September 9th. So we're trying to hit the rut. Like, we want to get up there right at pre-rut.
Yeah, what's peak rut considered?
Probably now, like 5 days ago.
I was going to say, towards the end of our hunt.
Kind of like elk in certain spots, right?
Mid to the end of September.
Gotcha.
Okay. And it kind of varied between the first spot we were at, and we ended up at a second spot, and it seemed like they were more ruddy. 10 miles, 12 miles away from where we were at the first place.
Yep.
But yeah, they were chasing and doing, looked like whitetails chasing each other, only they were 1,400 pound fucking moose.
Right. Okay. So go ahead.
No, we get all of our gear shipped up ahead of time, so it's sitting there waiting on us. We fly up. It was around the 10th of September. We fly up, and we're exhausted, all right? So the anticipation of this trip has just got us all wore down to the nub before we even start. I mean, we hadn't slept in, 2 or 3 days?
Well, just amped up for the trip.
The trip.
Yeah.
Nervous. I mean, I was nervous about being nervous.
I hear you. Yeah,
so if that makes sense. Like, I was worried about getting myself sick because I was so nervous about going on this trip. Like, this is years in the making. This is one of my dream trips.
It's game time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. It's like the game day nerves are like, it's pressure to perform, I guess, in a way. I'm assuming.
Yeah, just nervous to go on this trip of a lifetime. We all knew how big it was for us. So the day comes, we fly up there. We're exhausted. after a 7-hour flight.
Yep.
It takes almost 7 hours to get up from Chicago to Bethel. We land in Bethel, and once you land, you're like, man, it's going to be nice to just kick back and relax.
Nope.
Well, that's not the case. So as soon as you land, it's like all hell's breaking loose again. It's like, all right, get your gear ready, get everything weighed. You have to have 100 pounds per guy ready tonight, because in the morning, first thing, we're waking up, we're eating breakfast, we're flying you into the bush, weather permitting.
Gotcha.
So it's like, holy shit, I just want to go to sleep.
So you're here, get shit ready, because you're going to be out there tomorrow.
You're leaving in the morning.
But it wasn't just us three. There was other hunters coming in too.
Which probably made it like worse, right? Like the pressure and everything like that.
Yeah, because it's like a assembly line. I mean, they were just, this is what you got to do. Get in here, sign your paperwork. Let's get legal. Give us your checks. They always need those.
Is there a moose tag, or how does it like what?
Yeah, it's not aluminum foil, but it's like a...
No, it's a metal tag.
It's like a stainless tag. Yeah.
Tag.
Oh, cool.
It's got a number stamped and associated with your license and everything.
And they do that up there when you get there, or is it like already do you buy your tag there?
We bought everything from Papa Bear. You can buy it ahead of time, or you can buy it through them. So we just showed up, hadn't bought anything. They had everything laid out.
Yeah.
All the paperwork's done. All you got to do is sign on the dotted lines and give them money. So
Gotcha.
it's easy.
Yeah. Is the tag pretty cool looking?
Yeah,
it's just a thin little metal band. Yeah.
That'd be kind of neat to do something with that, right? Does it have to stay on the mount, I wonder, or the Euro mount?
Probably doesn't have to, but it's cool if you shoot one big enough. Like, you can't fathom how big around the bases are on these animals, but if you shoot one big enough, they give you an extender. So you have to lock
like
the extender in and put it around
the
freaking base of these things, dude.
No shit.
And a few of those in the pile when we flew in had those on them.
Yeah.
They had the extenders on them. They were massive, huge moose.
Okay, so
and we've got the videos in there. So
yeah, we'll get to these here. And if you're listening / watching on YouTube, you're going to see some clips. We're basically going to pull them up while we're recording and then overlay them in post. Wade Kemp's, and we got our version of Jamie. We need to give you like a studio nickname.
Jamie.
Oh boy. To figure something out. Okay, so you get there. It's kind of like this crazy rat race. It's like you're feeling the nerves of the situation. I can only imagine. I get anxiety with that shit. My poops would be off. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's how nervous I'd be.
And dude, it was raining and blowing. Like the wind was blowing 30 mile an hour.
It was rowdy. It was rowdy when we got up there, and they're like, "Gear up, boys! We're flying in this in the morning."
And we stayed up till what? What did we stay up till? 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I think it was 11. We all wanted to get a final shower, and it's kind of there's one shower, so everybody's trying to hit the shower and get your paperwork and gear, and we're stressing over. We're leaving half the stuff we shipped up there behind.
No kidding.
We had to trim some weight. Yep.
So what do you trim?
We left 2 guns. We left Ross's handgun. We left a rifle.
You left it at camp, like
I left it at base camp,
non-accessible.
Didn't even bring it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were hot, dude. We were heavy on weight. So
we forgot the 2 moose calls.
Yep.
Ross got light on chew.
Yep. Got light on chew. Had to have the pilot bring us in. So anyways,
we'll get to that.
We had a plane fly in and bring us some shit.
What else did we leave? What did we cut out?
We cut the sled. I think
Cody made us a real nice sled pen. Spent 3 days making this sled, and we had to leave it back.
No shit.
We cut a lot of doubles of stuff. I mean, we probably could have cut more. I think they let us go with 101 pounds.
101 a piece is what we ended up at.
And 100 was the limit.
Yep.
Okay. And they got to stay strict to that, because I bet you some dudes try to push it 10, 20 pounds.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, we tried really hard to cut, and we ended up cutting more than we wanted to, but
we forgot a loaf of bread. Tawny threw a loaf of bread on the pile for us, so that was good. We needed the bread.
So we had PB, not PB&J, but just PB.
Peanut butter.
We had peanut butter on a slice of bread.
Hey, whatever.
It was delicious.
I'm telling you, when you're up there, it's delicious.
Oh yeah, dude. I can only imagine.
Yeah,
so,
freeze-dried meals can only go so far, and it's like, damn it, I just need some peanut butter.
Yeah, eat a mountain house. You don't poop for 25 days.
That's what I did.
Me and Cody had no problem with that.
So probably the opposite sometimes, but okay. So you get in there, you're getting everything going, recutting gear and all that, and you're flying out the next day, staying up. Yeah, because flying, for me, it burns me out.
Oh, we were jet lagged, not to mention exhausted before we even started. And then you get up and you go through this, you're up late, you're like, God dang. So we slept well. I mean, I slept well that night. I was just beat down.
Yeah.
we wake up the next morning and it is howling.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's raining and it's windy. And she's like, visibility is like right at limit right now for our planes to take off. Like, we're kind of right on the edge of being able to fly right now. So I was nervous about flying on these
float planes
anyways.
1959 Beavers.
Yeah. So I saw this weather. I'm like, holy shit, we're getting on a little airplane in this.
It's going to be blowing you all over the place.
Dude, it's so cool. We packed up and we packed up in what was that? Like a 6-door.
Yeah, it was
diesel.
a triple cab.
Triple cab. So
Ford
there was
power
3
stroke.
rows of seats, front seat, middle seat, and then back seat, and had all of our gear in the back of it, and we loaded up, and so they can't take off out of this little pond that they plant these planes
I think the visibility was low enough, or the wind was too high, or something. What was it?
Would this be a good time to play this clip, Ross?
They couldn't take off heavy.
The plane clip?
Yeah. So...
we're getting ready to walk out. And you have to put your waders on to load the plane. So you're walking into 2 foot, 3 foot of water to load the plane.
So is this the footage of the...
This isn't... I've got takeoff somewhere, but yeah, this is getting close.
You see what he's doing there with his arms up there?
Cody, you can talk a little bit about the aircraft, probably. It's a 1959 Beaver. It's all mechanically controlled. It's an old aircraft.
1959 is the year this thing was made?
Yep.
All right, already sketchy.
Hey man, after flying in them, I wouldn't hesitate at all.
Their maintenance on these things are top notch.
Yeah. They're a 9-cylinder Pratt and Whitney, supercharged, and they're just phenomenal planes. Super smooth landings. These guys were talking earlier. They had to have a minimum of 2 miles of viz and a 500-foot ceiling. So
really?
We had to wait just a little bit in the morning to take off.
Ross's eyes.
I don't know why it's playing in slow mo.
Oh, that's good.
I don't understand why it's playing in slow-mo. So, what was the visibility? 2 miles?
500 feet.
Yeah, we only had 500 feet. They said 2 miles was minimum visibility they had to have in order to fly, and then a 500-foot ceiling. So
Gotcha.
These planes fly between 500 and 1,000 feet normally.
Okay.
So, like I said, they had to have a 500-foot minimum ceiling to fly. So we waited around probably a half hour. I don't know. We ate breakfast, and then we were kind of bummed out because she's like, well... It might be a little bit before we can get off the ground here. Yeah. Actually, come in, 15 minutes later? She's like, let's go, load up.
Yep, load them up.
And they take us over to a bigger pond because they can't take off heavy in the short water space.
Oh, right. That makes sense.
5 minutes from the lodge, like in the same little town. The water is right there.
Just to get more run time.
Yeah, basically. Yep. Because they're taking off. I mean, you figure us 3 guys and stuff in gear, 1,200 pounds or so.
Yeah, these Beaver planes are workhorses, okay? So they're not designed to go fast. They're like, 100 miles an hour is what they cruise at, but they're designed to carry a lot of weight.
They got a lot of torque and horsepower right off the rip.
4 guys and, what was it? Probably, I don't know, 100 pounds apiece, 300 plus all the camping gear, probably 500 or 600 pounds of camping gear.
Damn.
So...
he was loaded pretty heavy.
Yeah. Yep. They're designed to go slow and burn a lot of fuel and carry a lot of weight.
But it was just an in and out. Like when she said, hey, it's time to go, like we threw all of our shit in the back of the truck, totes, guns, everything.
It's an old muscle car of an airplane.
Yeah, it is. And once they get up to speed, they don't like high rev and go even faster. They just
bog through.
We're cruising at 2,000 RPMs right there. I mean,
no shit.
Putting along.
Just cruise controls on. You're on the interstate. Just blah blah. Go.
That's awesome. It's fun to watch him because you can watch him move all the controls and actually see what he's doing and adjusting. And it's wild. I was so terrified to get on that aircraft, and after doing it, if that guy could have flown me all the way back to Illinois on that thing, I'd have done it.
Really?
I enjoy that 10 times more than a big jet.
Yeah, I honestly hate flying.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I would rather drive.
That
honestly.
was a blast.
Yeah, that looks like quite the experience. And we'll get that footage on the video podcast if you're listening and are curious to see it.
So we hurried up and threw all of our shit in that truck and then got to the river and unloaded, and it was immediately testing our Sims waders out, hip waders out, and it was load the plane. He backed up there, pulled it back.
By the way, let me add this in. If you're curious about gear and what gear was packed, go to the pre-Moose Trip podcast. It's all covered there. We're not going to do it all. We'll do it in a little bit, but a little detail, but not the same amount of detail as we did on that episode.
Yep.
So we grabbed all the stuff and we started walking through the water and loading the plane, and it's like, all right, now we're getting wet right off the rip. Here we go. And then got in that thing and started floating around and all over the place. The wind was blowing. It was raining. I mean, it was a little sketchy.
We had close to a 30-mile-an-hour wind when we took off that day.
Could you feel it while you were in the plane?
Oh, yeah, dude. It was rocking back and forth.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Really?
It wasn't that bad.
But we actually took off. We flew about 40 miles, and he decided he needed to set it down. So we just found a puddle of water. We set it down.
There's so much
visibility,
so much water up there. Like he's like, all right, here's one of my refuel stops. So he's
refuel.
He called it a fuel stop or something like that. I'm assuming they had fuel stash there.
They called it fuel stash. Is what they called it. Yep.
So
really?
We actually tried to fly around this front and couldn't get around it because it was just the visibility was too bad. So he's like, all right, boys, we're going to put her down for a little bit. So he's coasting, put it down on this body of water, and we're just floating out in the middle of this body of water,
chilling
for
out,
half hour, 45 minutes, just bullshitting with him.
Yeah, kick the doors open.
Kick the doors open, put in a dip of chaw, and just sit there.
And it's just floating around in the pond or lake.
It's like floating on a boat. We're just hanging out.
That's kind of cool.
It was cool.
Wild, dude.
I took some video of that.
And there's no pressure because you can't hunt anyway because you can't hunt the same day you fly.
Exactly.
Right. So you guys are just like, I mean, how did you know at this when you did that little, we're going to wait it out and kind of kick it? How much longer did you have till destination?
He told us 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, so you guys were just hanging out. You guys weren't in no hurry.
Yeah, so it was 100 miles north of Bethel, and we go about 100 miles per hour, so right around an hour flight. So we made it about halfway through and then set it down for a little bit and chilled, and he's like, all right, it looks good enough. Got her up and going, and right on through the clouds we went.
That's freaking cool.
So they did a really badass deal where he just flew around where we were going to camp. So we got a map before we left base camp. So we had this map sitting there, and he had a little red circle there where we were going to supposedly set our tent up. And he got in there, and he goes, I'm going to fly around it twice. I'm going to do the right wing or left wing first, go around it, and I'm going to flip over and do the right wing, go around it, and we're just going to show you everything that's down there. I guess you can see everything and take pictures. I would honestly take video if you would, and we did.
Kind of as like your interactive map.
Yeah, basically, once you get on the ground, then everything looks totally different.
Right.
So we did that, and geez, we were counting moose left and right. I mean, it was stupid. Even before we got there was like a mega standing out there. I'm like, huge moose right there. Holy shit. And
how are you spotting them? To see in their antlers, paddles?
Just see big old paddles.
Big old white paddles glowing in the sunlight.
We're 600 to 800 feet above them, and you can just see them old paddles glowing.
Yeah. But then we fly over, and you can see a bunch of them bedded down. There's cows, calves, big bulls, lots of little bulls. And we were just kind of floating in. And anyways, we ended up landing, and as we were coming in, Cody and I were able to see this great big bastard right next to the water, taking off, running. He had a cow with him, and he was running away. I'm like, holy mega, like that is a giant.
This is like, what, 300 or 400 yards from our camp. There's a mega running away. Like as soon as we're dropping the plane in, there's a big one already on that body of water.
No, so you guys, like, hopes are high.
Well, yeah, obviously there's moose in the area. I counted 8 moose out of my window as we were dropping into camp. Like, there's moose.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we end up floating right up there. He parks us. He's like, all right, be quiet. Just get out. We'll unload all the gear. Basically, they're just there to dump us off. Mm-hmm. They're not helping set up tents, camp, nothing.
Yeah, you're setting gear on the edge of the water, and you push the plane out, and he goes bye-bye.
That's got to be a little nerve-wracking.
But
awesome.
He's like, your little campsite should be about 50 yards right up there, and gave us a little finger, like, go that direction. So we unloaded
there.
Yeah, he had no idea. No, he did.
He's like, I don't know, dude. It could be there. I might have forgot.
But at this point, like, we're like, for sure, we're getting in there with nobody had been there yet. Like, this is as legit as it could get.
And it's probably as good as it can get, yeah.
And so we unload all of our stuff. We start marching up there. He goes, your tent's that way, or your camp's that way. Go up there and set up everything, your tent and your kitchen and all that. Well, we start walking up there. No shit, we were like 20 yards away from where we're going to set our tent. Look over, and there's a big-ass shed laying right there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you get to keep it?
Yep. We brought it home.
No kidding?
Yeah, we're going to have Dana do a little
awesome.
We figured you'd appreciate it for some studio art.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Yep. For real?
Yeah.
Oh, no shit. Dude, yeah, let's do it. Let's put it in here.
It's cool in hell. So I wrapped that up with my moose inside his right antler, and we wrapped it up real nice. And
no kidding.
We got it all.
Oh, dude, that's awesome, man.
So Anyways,
the top side that was showing next to the sun's weathered out and looks like crap, but you flip it over and it's just like golden dark brown. It's awesome.
Man, no, is it a pretty decent one?
Yeah,
it's a decent sized bull, probably bigger than the one I shot. It's got some, like, the edges are kind of rough on a few of the top points, the short ones, but it's pretty good shape.
Cool, man. It's great, dude.
Dana will do something cool with it.
Awesome.
Yep. So we found that big old jewel, and then worked our way in and picked out our camp or our tent spot, and we ended up setting up tent. And so he dropped us off. We set the tent. We started building our kitchen, getting everything ready to go, and then we heard the plane start coming back, and he flew right over. I took a video of him on my phone, like, what the hell is he doing? I mean, he's flying, and then turns around and lands right there in the water again, and I forgot my GoPro.
Oh, he brought it back to you?
He brought it back. Yeah.
I probably have that video in here.
Yeah.
But it's like, good luck finding it, right?
It's all right.
Here's another one of the...
so many good ones in there.
That's our spot.
Yeah, that's the body of water we were hunting right there.
So you can see the beaver dams there, that little stretch right in front of that yellow.
Yep, I got you.
See the two beaver dams.
Uh-huh.
And we were on that body of water towards the, what the hell is that? East end? No, west end.
Man, that looks marshy.
Dude, it's all water everywhere.
Yeah, you can't imagine on the ground. There's no such thing as flat ground there.
No shit.
No. Yeah.
Nope, it's up and down and all around. It's like walking on a mattress the whole time.
No
so
kidding.
Those are the two beaver dams, and we ended up setting up camp just down, I don't know, another 150, 200 yards to the west, which would be closest to that airplane arm right there.
It's cool to look back on it. Like, it's only been a week since we've been up there, but I kind of already want to go back.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's how I felt, dude, in Wyoming. And Clint's like, you want to do this again? Would you do this again this year? I'm like, fuck no. But now I want to, you know?
Right.
Those last 2 days of the hunt, there's nothing we wanted more than to get home, and now it's like, man, that'd be fun to be back.
A shower after 10 days. A shower was nice.
Yep.
That is awesome, man. How fun.
So we got the tent set. He threw the GoPro back in. We were, okay, well, see you later. And they took off again. Yeah, that's a video of them getting ready to take off. But they, anyways, they ended up taking off. I guess the owner was with them too. Aaron.
Yeah, he had picked Aaron up at another location. It wasn't far from where we were at. And then they tossed us the GoPro, and we pushed them back out, and they were on their way.
No kidding.
I wish we could get some of these flyovers. Yeah, here he goes.
This is him taking back off.
Yeah, he's getting ready to take off.
That plane's cool looking.
He turns around, man. He rips the throttle and just takes off. It's blowing.
What's in them? What kind of motors in them things?
They're a 9-cylinder Pratt & Whitney supercharged. I don't remember the exact horsepower, but
I don't either.
It's Cody. You're like a super mechanic, aren't you?
He is.
Yeah.
9-cylinder though.
He wouldn't say it himself.
Who's heard of that?
But they talked to us a little bit about what it costs to operate those aircraft. So they do a full rebuild on that motor at 1,600 hours. But every year they do a really extensive maintenance program on these things.
Yeah.
And what do you say they had in that maintenance program? 20 grand, 30 grand?
25 grand.
I think the annual
Annually.
on that plane at Anchorage was 25 grand.
Yeah.
No shit.
Per aircraft. And they got 2 beavers.
And they got to
two
get
of
them out of Bethel back to Anchorage, which is when you're flying 300 mile an hour.
Yeah.
So it'd take them a while to get there.
He told us overall that the cost of operation on that aircraft was about $450 an hour.
Yep.
Time you figure everything in, that's about what it cost per year to fly it.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I was under the impression that you guys had a big canvas wall tent.
No.
Well, and I thought it was going to be a canvas, like a top on it, but it was just a Cabela's Guide Series tent, what it's called, and it was all just a whatever fabric that is. It's not canvas.
Oh, that's what I thought. Like all three of you guys would be staying in the same tent.
That's him flying over right before they ended up landing.
It didn't look this tent in here in the beginning of this video. Oh, that's it.
That's it.
Well,
I'm expecting like a Trey Heiner type camp tent.
No,
like just one. You know.
No.
Yeah, this is one, but it's not very big. It's a 6-man tent.
That's something you take your kids camping in on the weekend.
We put all 3 of our cots in it, and there was enough room to throw gear kind of under the cots and around them.
Gotcha.
But there wasn't a lot of room for anything else.
Okay, so that I was expecting like they had one tent. Okay, way different than I was expecting. That's a cool tent.
It was brand new. We pulled the tags off of it when we opened it up.
Yeah. It's got a nice little porch on the front of it, like a rain porch.
Vestibule.
On the front of it. Yeah,
vestibule.
there you go.
Nice vestibule.
So we could.
Wow, that is nice.
I mean, it rains a lot up there, so it's nice to be able to put your boots or whatever under that, your packs, and zip that shut and keep it dry overnight. Look at that, right in camp.
Are you guys
big old pile of poo?
Talk to me about like nerves or confidence or like overall vibe of you guys get like doing what you're doing now in this video we just watched of you guys kind of.
Dude, we just picked the shed up 20 yards from camp and saw 8 moose dropping in. Like we're literally setting the tent in a pile of shit.
Morale is high.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We were feeling pretty good.
And you can't hunt today anyway. So what time of day is this when you get there roughly?
Noon.
Ooh, yeah, noon.
11.
A little before noon. I think we had the tent set. We kind of built our kitchen and our.
We were worried. We were worried about the weather raining on us, but we got a nice little break there and got camp set up in a hurry just because we knew it was probably going to keep raining.
And thank goodness we did, because it turned around and rained on us that night. So, but it was, build the shitter and get the tent set up, get the kitchen set up.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just go, get everything done, and then turn around and chill out.
Yeah.
Just kind of
get rested.
Wait till tomorrow. So then we ended up going out, and there's the pictures right there. There's moose coming right back out after that.
The first evening, we're seeing moose right after the plane had landed. There's moose coming back out.
No kidding.
So,
God, how fun! All right, so walk me through like what's next. You guys get everything set up, and you're kind of just waiting on opening day, I guess, if you will, for you guys. Because
so we went to bed that night, and Austin was like, "All right, what's the game plan?" And Cody and I were kind of both looking at each other like, "Don't really have a game plan. I guess we're gonna go hunt tomorrow, but." I got nothing outside of that.
Right.
Who's shooting first? Don't give a shit. Like we were just kind of hanging out.
In your guys' heads, like the day before, like all going out together, splitting up.
We ended up going all together, and it just it's a brand new spot. We just got there. We have no idea what we're doing yet. We just needed to kind of feel the area out. Obviously, there's moose the night of flying in, showing up on the water. We had our blow up boat. We had a chance we could roll across the water and make a move on them, but it's day one. So
that's actually the evening of day one right there. So we had a really fun hunt the first day. We all sat together. We decided Cody was going to be trigger man if we got a shot on anything. Ross brought his bow, Cody brought his bow, and then I think I was packing the rifle just in case a beast showed up. But, we ended up seeing like 7 or 8 bulls that first night.
Yeah.
No shit.
We did.
Of hunting, first day of hunting.
First night of hunting, yeah. We were sitting on that body of water and just kind of getting a feel for the area. We thought it was smart to tread lightly. Like start making small circles away from camp. Don't just try to get aggressive and blow in the
line
first
to a
day.
certain area, yeah. That's smart.
We'd never hunted moose before, so we didn't know what we were getting into, but we just kind of sat up and observed, and actually this group of 3 or 4 bulls come out, and we got to watch this dude swim across the water, like probably 100, 150 yards in front of us.
Yep.
And you'll never forget the first moose that you see in the wild, because you're looking, 200, 300, 400 yards away, and you're used to seeing deer.
Yeah.
And when one of these freaking dinosaurs step out, it's like,
it's insane.
Oh my God, look at the size of that freaking animal.
Yeah.
They're just huge.
It'll blow your mind every time.
There's nothing
I've
that's
actually
going to prepare you for that.
When I hunted in Colorado, we were in a really good moose unit, and I had Jeremy from Buckstorm. We saw 2 Shiras moose, and he was like, dude, both those bulls are Boone and Crockett, 2 studs, and they were huge, and they were like what you're saying, way far away. But then we've seen a couple other bulls up close.
Yep.
But but they different subspecies of moose. Like I think these are a lot bigger.
I've seen moose in the wild in Utah, but it was like out of a pickup. When you're hunting for them, it's just different. When you're like sitting there waiting in the anticipation of this animal coming out, and they finally do, it's like, oh my God.
It's just crazy when you look at a limb, say 200 yards away, there's a limb hanging out in the field, and then the moose walks out where you would expect a deer to walk out and know that size. The moose walks out, and he's another 8 feet above that limb that you were just looking at. It's like, holy shit.
He looks like he's 50 yards, but he's really 200.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just gonna shut up for a little bit and let you guys break down the rest of day one.
Yeah, it was towards the evening when we were seeing all those bulls, and we're just jacked up. We're like, man, we're just seeing moose everywhere. The biggest bull we saw was, I don't know, 30s, maybe 40. Not a big bull, but a decent enough sized one that it got us excited. Like, damn, that's There's some good moose in
But hell yes, it was exciting. I mean, we were seeing moose on the first day.
Yeah.
Like it was,
and
groups of them.
And earlier in the day, we'd cow called and had those two stand up and went down around the point when you and I moved down.
Yep.
And that kind of changed the hunt for us because it kind of gave us a path of where they traveled too. You know what I mean? That definitely kind of set the pace for the rest of the hunt.
Yeah, absolutely.
You learn a lot real quick. And I mean, you guys are all hunters, so it's like your adaptability is a little quicker than someone who's never hunted. So, okay, cool. So is that day one right there?
Can't think of much else to add to day one.
I'd say we go back and we went back to camp and we ate our mountain house.
We got our shitty water filtration system out. Catadine sucks ass, by the way.
Yeah.
What is it? What kind of filter?
False advertising.
I like the concept of the system, and I think they probably do have different filters, but the filters we got were absolute garbage. They were supposed to filter like 400 gallons of water. We got maybe 40, not even that.
No. We got like 4 to 5.
We couldn't get 4 gallons out of a filter without cleaning.
They were
really,
and the water we were putting in was not that.
Describe
dirty.
the type of filter because I don't.
It's just a foam filter. It's just
like
a
a miniature
filter.
version of what you'd put in your house and an inline filter.
It's a paper filter with a wrapping around it to try to protect grass and big debris from getting into it.
Yeah.
And there was no big debris in it, and this thing would clog up after a couple jugs.
Yep.
We ended up through the hunt. We had 10 days in the field of using this thing. So I brought 3 spare filters, or 3 total filters with me. So after day number 3, we've already used 2 of the filters. So we're like scratching, we'd pull them out, we'd scratch the filters clean, rinse them off, blow through them, get air to start circulating back through them, and then reuse the filters.
But they show you in the commercial that you can just go fill it in the water, like pull this thing through the water and fill it up through the mud, like it was brown water. Like at best, we had like piss yellow water that went through this thing. It wasn't like full of debris.
You guys are just getting beaver fever out there drinking
that's
beaver
what we were
piss.
worried about. Well, that's what I told them. I'm like, okay, so how long can we scratch on this paper filter before we compromise the integrity of it? And we're all getting sick as shit from it, you know?
You know what though? It's got like a purifier in it too, and it was damn. I mean, it tasted great when it.
By the way, there were beavers everywhere up there.
Beaver fever's a thing, dude.
Oh, that's what we were concerned with.
I bought before Wyoming per Clint's recommendation a Grail water bottle.
Okay.
And you fill the water bottle, like lid pulls off, and there's a filter on the bottom, and it's good for like 200 gallons. And then you fill like the body of the water bottle, and then you pump down the top, and it filters it as it pushes into your water bottle, and you just go. So I have like one of those bag systems where you fill like a dirty bag and put the filter on it, and then you squeeze the bag. And I didn't want to fuck with the bag, so I bought a stupid $90 water bottle, but worth it.
Yeah, if it works, I mean, that's everything. That's your lifeline in Alaska. You have to have good, clean water to drink and to eat, you know, for your mountain house.
So I want to continue on that after we talk about day 2.
Yeah. Day two.
Let's start day 2 and then go into how much we need water.
Yeah, go ahead. You take day 2.
So day 2, we get up and we start rocking and rolling. Everything's, I mean, what we got out there, we started scoping out moose. There was that cow and her calves calf, and they came to the water first thing in the morning. We went out and we didn't spot anything, but we had a game plan on where we were going to go. Well, we just saw those 4 bulls come out the night before.
We had a beast raking, remember?
Yep.
We could hear
in the
him.
morning.
So sound carries a long ways up there. And Cody was on one end of the water, Ross was on the other, and I was kind of in the middle, and we could all hear this same bull raking. And I made my move all the way up and got as close as I wanted to get without busting him, and he's just shredding a tree back in there, grunting and shredding this tree up. So then I walked back to the boat because Ross and I had crossed the body of water in this boat. So we go back up there and meet, and then go back at lunchtime and get a game plan together.
Yep. So we got the game plan together. We just saw those 4 bulls come out the night before in that certain spot, and then that one swam the river or water or whatever.
Yep.
But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna follow what they did last night. I mean, surely they'll come back out tonight. So I'm gonna go over there, and first bow opportunity, like I want a decent bull, but I'm willing to shoot something smaller just because I got my bow.
Right, of course. And the experience and just everything, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I got to set up on this spot because this is a spot. Well, Austin and Cody both seen where the action was, where the pinch point was at the other end of the water, and they formed a plan, and they were going to go. Well, Cody got up on the high point with his bow and his rifle.
On one side of the water.
On one side of the water, and Austin and I floated to the other side of the water.
It's about 80 yards wide, probably, this body of water.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
And I was going to take Austin all the way down. He's like, nah, just park where you want to park, and I'll walk all the way down from there. So, and he did, and it was a long ways. I mean, it was a lot
probably
longer.
400, 500 yards, something like that.
It was a march, and it was like through the marsh and the water and all that. I mean, it was tough to get there, I'm sure.
Yep.
And we both talking about Zolios a little bit, but we both said, let's turn the Zolios on and we can communicate back and forth, just like texting your buddy.
It's kind of crazy. We're in Alaska and we're texting each other.
Yeah, satellite texting.
So we started, he's like, all right, 6 p.m., turn them on. We're gonna touch base. And I turned mine on at 10 till 6, and I already got a message from him. I think I just killed one.
No shit.
I'm like, holy fuck. I'm sitting there thinking.
This is the second day?
This is day number 2.
Day 2.
So it was actually the first day I had a bow in my hand. So I hunted with these guys. I never even carried a weapon the first day.
Yeah.
So that evening, after listening to that bull rake, I'm like, okay, I know these bulls are bedded on this side of the water. I know there's a couple of them because I could hear 2 different ones raking.
Yeah.
And I told Ross I think it's kind of a pinch where they're probably going around this marshy tip around the end. So I get in there and find a nice little nest, and there's just a couple little shrubs on either side of me, but it's almost like a little ground blind. So I'm sitting right on the edge of the water, like within a foot of me, there's standing water, and I'm on this little nest. And it was early in the night, probably 5 o'clock, 5:30. And I look up, and these 3 bulls get up. They had to have gotten off their bed because it was early. And I see them all get up, and they're...
How far are they from
200 to 250?
Okay, so close.
Yeah, pretty close. Close enough they can hear me.
Right.
And they're like working towards me. They're doing exactly what I'd hoped they'd do. They're walking this marshy edge and kind of feeding on that marshy vegetation that sticks up.
Yeah.
Just like I envisioned. And I've never hunted moose a day in my life. So I'm like, damn, I figured I actually did something right.
I knew they'd do that.
I'm actually doing something right.
But when they're like 200 yards, I mean, they're taking 10-foot steps. So, I mean, they're going to get there pretty quick.
Right. Yeah, it's not a whitetail pitter patter and it's little legs all the way to you.
And it was cool too, because they're all kind of like banging with each other. Like they're kind of locking antlers and playing back and forth. And just kind of like pre-rut shit that you would expect whitetails to do is what they're doing. And they get to about 200 yards from me, and then they go to kind of cut up into the thicker stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, they're leaving. They're getting off that trail that's leading them to me. They're cutting up into the thick stuff. So I can't remember which order I did it in, but I grunted and I raked. I had a boat oar, which sounds awesome. It sounds just like a paddle.
Oh, it sounds exactly like their antlers.
Yeah. So I just had a little short shrub, and I was raking on that, but I didn't do it very long because they were close enough. I was afraid they were going to see me.
Yeah.
They don't have very good eyesight, but I just didn't want to do it for too long. So I raked on that, and then I grunted and cow called, and I don't remember which one I did first, but whatever I did, it was the right combination because they looked at me, and the little one was leading, and then the one I shot was in the middle, and then the wider one was in the back. And they were like all in a line marching right to me.
Like how fast?
Fast enough that as soon as I saw them coming to me, I'm like, okay, I'm looking at them. I'm like, all right, they're going to be at 100. And then I just have my hand on the HHA.
You're just dialing around.
And I'm just watching them. I'm like kind of crouched down behind this bush so they can't see me. And they get in and they're marching, like they're coming. They're not slowing down.
Yeah.
They're coming to that call.
Yeah.
So they got into about 50, and I'm like, all right, there's 50, 40, 30, and I'm just kind of rolling this, trying to anticipate the trail they're going to take.
So you just got the Leupold click.
Well, I'm not even ranging them. I'm just trying to kind of eyeball, but the closer they get, the more I can kind of see the trail that they're going to come in on or the path that they're going to take. So I rolled to 30 because I'm like, they're coming right on this closest trail to me. So I roll to 30, and then I crouch down and I get my rangefinder so I can actually know a yardage.
Exact, yeah.
And the first little one comes through the bush, and I click him, and he's 40. So I'm like, all right. I said,
how close does 40 yards feel with a moose?
It was close enough.
Did it feel like 20 yards on a whitetail?
Yeah, like they're in your wheelhouse at 40. All right, it's not gonna get much better than that.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, he's 40.
And think it's like 4 whitetails probably stacked on top of each other.
Dude, I was so jacked. There was never even an option in my mind of pass or shoot.
Really?
Like it never even crossed my mind to pass this group.
Yeah.
So I click him at 40. As soon as he's at 40, I put my release on, I draw back, and I kind of creep up over the bush. And even after I creep up, they don't even know I'm there.
No shit.
So the one that I want to shoot, the second one, I'm not even looking at the back one because the middle one's already given me the shot I want.
Yeah.
So I thought he was 40. I take, and I look up, my sight's on 30. So I'm like, okay, I need to hold a little high, and I didn't hold high enough. Mm-hmm. So I was probably 5-6 inches higher than I wanted to be. Well, we're shooting heavy arrows.
Right.
So my mistake was I ranged that first bull. He's at 40. My bull's probably 45 behind him.
Oh, okay.
Never in the heat of the moment, it didn't register.
A lot going on in your brain.
I mean, this is my shot of a lifetime unfolding right before my eyes. Like it's happening on day 2, and I can't even believe it.
And Cody's up on the hillside watching this whole thing.
Oh, you can see this.
Oh yeah, I'm more excited. Can't imagine him being more excited. I watched the whole thing through binoculars.
Kidding.
Watched him come out. Watched him hit the brush with the paddle, and
shit.
Watched the big bull turn his head, and then they sent like his minions in.
He got a front row seat.
Oh yeah, and it looks.
Oh, no kidding.
Through binoculars, I mean, it looks like they're on top of him.
Oh, I can imagine.
10 yards. Yeah, I'm like, what the heck? I told
what's
Ross,
going on down there?
I told Ross when I got to the boat, when we were going to meet him, I'm like, he was playing eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I mean, they were right there. They were further away.
Right,
but man,
right.
through the binoculars, it looked like they
You
were
look at an animal of that magnitude, and little old me just behind a bush, looks like they're right on top of me.
The Lord's up in there just picking and choosing.
So I got back, I got drawed back, and I'm like, all right, 30 a little high. And I put it a little high, and I executed my shot, and everything felt right. And the arrow just turds out. It just dive bombs right when it gets to him. I'm like, fuck.
Like miss.
Well, I didn't think it missed him, but I thought I hit him low. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't sure if it hit leg or low brisket or what had happened, but they all kind of jump. And the little one goes right and then stops. And my bull goes away from me and stops. And the big one is just standing there. And the big one's at like 40. So in the heat of the moment, I'm like, okay, what's the right thing to do? Pop the big one at 40 or rearrange my bull at 60? Mm-hmm. I'm like, I'm going to shoot my bull again because I don't know where I hit him. Mm-hmm. So I passed up a very easy broadside shot on a bigger bull at 40, and I ranged my bull, and he's at 60. So now he's standing still. I'm like, okay, calm down. I get my arrow on, click my vertis up.
What's his body posture at this point, though?
Slightly quartering into me, just looking right at me, because now he knows.
Okay.
Like he saw the shot. He knows where I'm at.
And he felt it.
And he got stung a little bit.
Ouch.
So he's just standing there looking at me. So I roll my sight to 60.
Okay, hold on. And I'm sorry, Cody, because you're watching this. Did you see the shot, the first one?
So I saw him draw back through the binoculars. I never actually saw the arrow let go.
Okay.
But I saw him drawn back, and I saw him let up. So
okay, gotcha.
I knew he shot. I mean, I'm ecstatic. I mean,
right. Okay.
Like I said, if there had been a bull standing behind me, I'd have been screwed because I was focused on him. But like I said, it was just it was awesome. But like I said, the second shot.
Okay, this is where I don't know. I don't want you to go too far.
No.
I just want to get your perspective before we got to your 60-yard situation. Sorry if I cut you off. I just wanted to. I don't want to go backwards. I want to build.
You're trying
the
to paint the whole picture of what was going on there.
Yeah.
So I get it rolled to 60. I'm like, all right, he's standing there. You've done this shot 500 times, probably 5,000 times in the backyard. Lock on, draw back, kiss her button, looking through the peep, and I execute the shot perfectly. And the arrow goes, I can see the little green nocturnal going, and it loops up. I'm shooting a heavy victory arrow, drops in, and right behind the shoulder, maybe 4 or 5 inches higher than I would have wanted it to be. Mm-hmm. And when I hit him that time, it was not the same reaction. Like, he fucking blasted out of there. I've never seen an animal that size move that fast.
Oh, no kidding.
And when he ran, so I shot him on his left side, and when he ran, he turned and actually ran towards the direction I wanted him to, so the pack would have been nice and easy towards the body of water. I'm like, oh, fuck, this is perfect. And he's running. I can see the arrow hanging out of him. Like, there's quite a bit, a couple foot hanging out of him. But I knew as it was going to him that it was in a pretty good spot. Like, I'm like, if it's not in the shoulder, then that bull is dead. And I could hear him running and crashing. And it is probably, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds. I could hear him crashing. And then it stops. And then I thought I could hear like gurgling.
Oh, really?
I'm like,
no
shit. Like, it's giving me goosebumps now just retelling the story because I haven't went into this much detail since it happened.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I think I just killed him.
And that's what he sent me on the Zoleo.
And I think
I just killed one.
I was honestly kind of stressing, like, well, I'm going to miss Ross's Zoleo time. Like, I kept looking at my phone, like, all this is happening at the same time I'm supposed to be checking in with Ross.
Sorry, Daddy, I was late, but I killed one.
So I thought I heard him crash. I get my Zoleo out. Well, at first I got my GoPro up because I screwed up. I had a Tacticam on my bow, and in the heat of the moment, it never even dawned on me to turn this thing on.
Yeah, fuck that thing, dude.
Well, I should have, because it would have been awesome.
It would have been cool, but dude, I know what you're saying.
And I had all kinds of time to do it. It just totally did not register in my head. Like, I've hunted big whitetails for years. I remember that Tacticam every time.
It's game time though, man.
But on that, dude, I was so jacked on those moose coming in, it never even registered in my head to turn that thing on.
No.
So I forgot that, but I did have my GoPro, and I got my immediate reaction after the shot, and I pan over, and the big bull's standing there at 40, and I haven't even looked at the footage yet, but he's standing there at 40, so I filmed him a little bit.
Do I have that footage on the computer here?
It's somewhere. I don't know. It wouldn't be in your stuff, would it, Ross?
No.
It's on my GoPro.
Okay.
So anyways, I Zolio'd Ross. I'm like, dude, I think I just shot one. He's like, well, should I come down? I'm like, well, if you want to, let's do it.
I mean, you killed one, or you think you killed one? What's going on?
I'm like, I think I killed one.
You think you killed one? All right, I'm headed down.
So he gets in the boat.
The Zolios are pretty fast, aren't they?
Like, I'm like, this is prime time. This is almost, it's 6:30?
Yeah.
Moose 30.
I screwed Ross over pretty good.
So I'm like,
I screwed
any minute now, somebody's going to walk out in this hot spot.
Yeah.
I'm like, so don't care.
Let's check back in with Cody. Did you see the second shot or any of this go down?
So same thing. I saw him draw back.
Yeah.
Didn't see
for the second time.
Yeah, the connection. I actually couldn't see the bull the second time.
Could you hear him running or any of him crashing or any of that?
So I did hear him run. I didn't hear the gurgle or anything like that, but I did hear him run.
How far away are you roughly?
I'm probably 200.
The bull. Oh shit! Like I'm expecting this to be. I'm Wyoming programmed still a little bit.
We're pretty close. We're all on this little 80-yard wide body of water.
Yeah. Okay.
But he was probably 200 from me, but the bull actually ran towards you as he died. He was running towards your direction
in the brush. So,
yeah.
Like I said, I couldn't see him on the second shot. Like I said, there again, I saw him draw back.
Yeah.
Saw him release, but as far as
dude, that is so cool. I guess maybe you told me a little bit. We haven't really talked.
We tried not to talk about a whole lot because we wanted to kind of save it for the podcast.
Isn't that funny? But I didn't know that went down from that perspective, which makes it way cooler, I think.
Yeah, it was badass. I mean, it was awesome that you got to see it.
It was. Like I said, I was pretty excited. I start throwing my pack on. And I'm like, we got something down.
So and I come rowing up, and you were just like, you can believe what I just saw.
Yeah.
Ross is doing 360s in the Pro Pioneer boat coming down. This goddamn Pro Pioneer boat.
Piece of shit.
It does 360s. You can't keep it straight.
Why? Because you're paddling on one side.
Well, dude. So 2 guys in it, but you picture 3 guys with gear. It's a flat bottom blow up boat. I mean, you're pretty much on a.
Is that this blue thing?
Oh yeah.
I really don't want to cuss it too bad because it did keep us alive and dry.
Ross was getting pissed at me the first day. He acted like I'd never been in a canoe before. Like,
oh yeah, I swear to God, I was right there. I'm like, Austin, you got to. I mean, seriously,
I was a goddamn Boy Scout, Ross. Okay, I've spent some time in a canoe.
He's like,
I made a birdhouse in my time.
Like, hey man, you're hanging out with some Eagle Scouts right now. I'm like, okay, we'll paddle the fucking boat, dude. Like, or stop paddling, whatever it takes.
We got a better story later on.
You had a shitty Boy Scout program. That's funny. Oh, dude, you can't, Ross. If you're with Ross working or doing a task and you're not doing it up to Ross's par, You're getting an earful.
Well,
that's how you know you're a boss.
He gave me an earful that first time, but then I'm like, all right, big boy, let's switch up. You take the steering job. And then he realized it wasn't me, it was the damn boat.
It was the boat. And I'll tell you what, I mean, it's stupid, but these pro pioneers are awesome. They will save your life. But Shemini Christmas, that damn thing, I don't care. I mean, if the wind blew 5 miles an hour, you're doing a donut right there.
No kidding.
I ain't shitting you. There ain't no way of steering it.
It was funny. We'd be coming back at 3 a.m, just fucking exhausted, and we'd just be laughing.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, you couldn't help it but laugh.
The boat would just be spinning, doing 360s all the way down.
We got to go 150 yards. We do 10 circles.
No shit. That would be kind of frustrating.
Frustrating. Right. Holy shit. I was pissed.
I was laughing.
Okay, so carry me into the rest of this.
All right, so Ross and Cody are kind of coming down. He's going to pick Cody up and coming down the water towards me as I'm trailing this bull. All right, so I didn't waste any time because time is kind of the essence up there. If you've got daylight, you know you've got a big job ahead of you.
Right.
You want to get up there.
Capitalize on it.
You want to get up there and use some light to your advantage, especially on your first one. We'd never broke one of these animals down.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I go up. I try to find my shot. It took me about 20 or 30 yards, and then I start finding blood.
Mm-hmm.
And it's drops on the ground at first. I'm like, well, it's not as much blood as I'd hoped for, but I knew it was just probably an entrance and not an exit.
Okay, yeah.
Because I saw the amount of arrow hanging out of him. Well, it turns out I did get an exit, but I wasn't looking high enough for the blood.
Oh, okay.
So you don't realize how tall those animals are until you start blood trailing them. And I'm 6 foot tall, and they're chest level.
Yeah.
Like the blood trail is like chest level. Like
weird.
You start looking on vegetation, branches, whatnot. You'll see some on the ground, but you see a lot at like 4 and 5 foot up.
Which is not our wheelhouse for blood trailing
it's
here.
Totally foreign to me. So after I kind of got onto that, I went probably 50 yards, and then I could hear those guys talking. So I marked last blood with a Nora, went out and got them, do our high five, come back. Ross turns the GoPro on, and we keep going. And that bull made it, 100, 150 yards maybe?
Yeah, probably 150 total.
Yeah.
I think I have this footage, right?
Yeah, you should have it.
Austin's walk up. So we'll wait for Ross to get back in on this. So
yeah.
How are you feeling, like, in your mindset right now? Like, and I just kind of want to tap in. We're kind of lagging because Ross went out, I think, get a drink, or I don't know what he's doing. I kind of just want to know your mindset a little bit of, like, you shot a moose. You fucking shot a moose with a bow.
I accomplished the biggest goal of mine of the trip. Like, the goal is for us all to go up there and come back home and not cut a finger off, right?
Right, yeah.
But we all wanted to kill moose, and that's checking one off the list on day number 2. Like, I'm setting the pace right out the gate of where we want to be. We all want to be successful on this trip.
Yeah, yeah.
So day number 2, I think we're all going to get bloody. And walking up on this moose...
Let me know when I need to pull up GoPro.
You can go ahead. You can go ahead and pull it up, and I'll keep talking. But I never like when this moose was coming in, I'd never judged a moose before. So my guess in my head was 40s. Like, I figured this moose was in the 40s.
Go deeper.
40
Austin's
inches.
Walk up. Oh, God damn it.
40 inches wide. And when we get up on him, he's not. I misjudged him a little bit.
Is this what I want? This clip?
Yeah, the walk up.
Okay.
Yep. So I misjudged this moose a little bit. He's in his 30s. He's not 40s. So he's what I would consider a small moose.
Oh, really?
There. Yeah. Like, out of the pile of moose that we saw at the lodge, this moose would be in the bottom 2 or 3. I mean, he's not a very big bull. He had nice, like, decent paddles on him. You know, I would say a nice representative of the species if you're anywhere other than Yukon, Alaska. But I was so satisfied, like, the whole experience, it came together. I'd got to pull the trigger with my bow on an Alaskan moose. And on day number 2, I was satisfied. And on day number 8, I was satisfied. And today, I'm still satisfied.
That's all that matters.
I'm glad I took that opportunity. And not only did I get to do it with a bow, but I got to call him into me. That was the big thing. Like,
absolutely.
I wanted to get into the mix with him. And
am I seeing blood up high? Is that what?
Yeah.
You're seeing?
Like head height.
So we're watching footage here of them trailing it. Yeah, it's like weird little bushes that the blood's up pretty high on there.
Yeah, pretty typical Alaska vegetation there.
But he shot him high in the lungs, and when they stand 10 feet tall, I mean, they're brushing branches.
Not only that, like when they're like the air trying to push through deflated lungs, it's probably kind of spurting out kind of strangely too from what we're used to, you know?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Well, it destroyed his lungs when we opened him up. There wasn't a whole lot
nothing left of his lungs. I mean, he toasted him.
Hit a rib on the way in. I think I hit a rib on the way out, but the arrow kind of popped back out when I saw him running away, so the penetration was better than I had thought.
This terrain is not what I expected, I'll be honest.
No, it's pretty rough.
I expected a little more...
the next clip.
Well, and the deceiving thing on the video is it looks flat to walk on.
Yeah,
that's not flat. No. Every step's 6 inches different.
Well, there's they're trees, but they're almost like bushes, and they kind of grow low. So you're tripping over those, stepping over those, uneven terrain. I mean, wet, marshy terrain. Just a real nightmare to pack heavy loads on. But luckily, out of all the moose that we shot, I think the furthest pack we had would have been less than 200 yards to the water.
Oh, no kidding.
So these beavers can come in on a good body of water. So if you do kind of stick to the plan that we did and hunt close to these bodies of water, the pack job's not really that bad.
Really? Yep. So we're watching some footage now.
Right here's when we're getting ready to walk up on him.
But yeah, this was pretty deep. I mean, watching
Holy smoke.
We were just amazed at the size of the animal. Like, not necessarily his antlers weren't huge, but I mean, they were big to us because we'd never seen one, but just the body on them, they're just enormous.
Oh, man. Dude, that looks like a good moose to me. Shit. Is that your first... So... Is that your first shot here?
Yep. We talk about it a little bit. So I nicked like kind of right at where the knee's at, and then right at the brisket, you can see where it shaves some hair.
I wouldn't say knee.
Well,
knee is this.
Yeah, it's up higher. It's right at his brisket line.
Okay. Right? Am I right?
Yeah.
It reminds me of...
That's the knee. Yeah.
Save the second. What's the movie I'm thinking of? Waterboy, when she's cooking the alligator. This is what I would call his knee.
That's awesome.
I wish the audio was better, but...
Well, I can turn it up. I have it turned down because I know we're going to overlay this for the video.
Yeah.
It's still pretty dang cool.
We're kind of analyzing my first shot on him and how close it was. So I did the right thing. I passed the shot up on the closer bull after I'd already shot at this one because I had hit him. It wasn't a fatal shot by any means, but I took the longer shot on the bull that I'd shot at to begin with. So it just made for a great story.
Man, congratulations, dude. That's what an accomplishment. That really is.
I appreciate it. That one's been a dream of mine for a long time, and to get to share it with these guys was very cool.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yep. It was a lot of work, but man, it was fun. We ended up spending about 5.5 hours on that bull, cutting him up and getting him quartered out. And,
I can imagine.
Yeah, that's like a whole separate podcast just on cleaning one. We got a whole system
Dude,
down
all
there.
I ask is,
we got it.
I want to have a party with all you guys here at the studio, and we cook up moose steaks.
Oh dude.
Yeah. You know,
it's legit.
You haven't lived till you've had Chandler's moose heart cooked. I'm just saying.
And that was on a shitty Coleman stove.
Hell yeah.
I'm jealous of that.
Yeah, we had that on Cody's kill.
About 2 a.m.
Yeah, about 2 a.m. we cooked some moose heart.
Yep.
Yep.
So we like taking the old jacket off, see them Sims waders.
Yep.
Got that Huntworth rocking boy.
We did. We got to test some Huntworth gear out up there, and I'm going to tell you, between the long underwear, I had hoodies, I had the jacket. I tested the shit out of that gear, and I was very impressed with it.
Because it's new to us. This is all new to us.
This gear had been shipped to us in the last month or so, so we'd already shipped up a bunch of gear that we'd already bought. So I tested out a combination of gear up there. As far as like heavy rain gear, I would recommend like probably a little more expensive rain suit. But as far as like everything else Huntworth wise, I was pleasantly surprised while I was up there in Alaska. I stayed warm and stayed pretty dry for the most part.
Dude,
so,
this is cool. How stoked are you right here picking up this moose?
Oh, dude, it was unreal. Like I said, this has been...
That's a good bull, man. I'd be fucking thrilled with that.
He's got a lot of cool characteristics. He's got decent paddles on him. His coloration's cool. I mean, he's going to make a badass European mount, and it'll be a hunt that I remember for the rest of my life. I got to share it with my 2 best friends in the wilds of Alaska. Like, there's no guide with us. We're doing this ourselves. Day number 2, and we're killing them with bows. I'm freaking jacked.
Where are you going to put you're going to Euro him, you said?
I don't even know where I'm going to stick him yet.
You got to put him up in the loft somewhere, dude.
Yeah.
Because you want people to get up close and personal. Like your elk, where you have it, is cool, but you can't like get up in its mix,
right?
You know what I mean?
I'm just
or bring it to the
on
studio.
The size of him. Like, where am I gonna? Yeah, well, the studio might not be a bad idea actually. I just don't know where I'm gonna put him.
I think you should hang him at your house, but if you want to bring him to the studio, I'm not gonna tell you no.
We'll ask Sam if he can do a replica on a 35-inch moose.
But honestly, I mean, that's what we have this place for, you know?
No, I was just jacked, man. It was awesome.
Oh, I can imagine, dude. I don't know why this. I've never had this GoPro footage. Like, it's weird.
Lag?
It's slow mode.
Yeah, it's lagging.
See it? These two bars right here. It's slow. That's the slow-mo version.
Well, we watched it in full motion out there in the.
Well, what I'm doing, I know. See what I'm doing? I'm pulling these back, the cursor back, and then playing it in full speed.
And then it works.
But then if I separate it, like watch, that slow-mo's it.
Yeah.
But if I run it in here, then it's full speed. I don't know. I don't get what it's doing.
Well, you can see us breaking him down there, and we got in a hurry on the first one, so we ended up making a job that was not that tough, a lot tougher than it had to be, but we learned a lot on mine, and by the time we got to our second and then third bull, we had really devised a pretty decent system where every guy kind of had his own job.
Yeah.
And we were very efficient on that last bull.
Yep.
God, that's a big animal.
They're huge, dude.
I think Austin's bull took 5.5 hours just to break down.
Yeah.
By the time we got to Ross's bull 3, it was broke down and packed out in 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you
figured out what to do.
You figure it out quick,
Yep.
you know. It's like it.
So here, all right, we're gonna spin this thing in just a little bit, but so we're caping out and quartering out Austin's, and we're probably 175 yards away from the water, 150.
You just gotta get to the water. Is that
all we got to do? Is get to the
that
water.
Float
so
plane
that,
can come in on that water. Yeah.
Okay.
so
that
you
bull-
call them as soon as you get to the water.
We called him after we knew the bull was down and said, okay, we killed one. We're going to get him cut up tonight. And he said, okay, we'll see you about noon, 2 o'clock tomorrow, somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. This is on the satellite phone. Papa Bear furnishes you with a satellite phone.
Oh, like you can call them.
Yes.
Like okay,
Yes.
cool. That's awesome.
Yep. So we ended up quartering this moose out, getting all the meat out, and on the last trip out to the water, we all three decided to go out. Austin, fortunately, hung his headlight over the top of the meat where we were dropping it, and we laid down a tarp. We were gonna get it all set and ready to go. Hung some of the meat, but we laid down a tarp just to kind of set the area so we could get everything hung up. And we went back in to get our backpacks, our bows, our guns, our phones, our Zolios, our GPS, everything, like everything.
We're wearing hardly nothing at this point. We'd have been working for 5 hours. Like, we're hot. We're just
We're stripped down. Waders, hip boots.
We don't have a handgun on us. We don't have nothing.
We have nothing.
You smell like red meat.
I don't have a
Exactly.
pocket knife. Yeah, nothing.
Okay.
So we went walking back in, and it was, I mean, these game trails they look identical to the same one you used to walk.
Everything looks, just from the little bit of footage I've seen, everything looks the same.
So we're walking back in, and it's like, all right, well, we go this way. Let's go left. We got to veer left. That's what I kept telling these guys. We got to veer left as we go in. As long as we veer left, we'll get to the site. Well, we veered left way too many times.
He was in about 170 yards. We veered left for 2 miles, and at some point, we wound up on this other body of water. I'm like, guys, this isn't going to work for me. Okay, there's a steep cliff. There is no steep cliff on the body of water that we're supposed to be on. Okay, we're on a steep cliff. There is a freaking marsh that is 3 times wider than the one that we were on. Okay, we're lost. We're fucked. We're in the middle of Alaska. It's 1 a.m.
There's grizzly bears.
There's a fresh kill. I smell like a freaking dead walking moose. I have no handgun on me. And we can't even see the stars right now to determine where the North Star is at.
You guys can't even argue over stars right now.
No. Nope.
Damn, the Lord is having a hard time.
We were all having a hard time. And I think I was probably the most composed on any of us because I was so tired. I'm like, fuck it. Let's lay down right here. Let's take a nap for 2 or 3 hours. Let it get light.
And Cody and I were both like, no, that's fucking stupid. I am not laying down. We have no layers on. We are freezing to death.
Well, by this time, it's raining.
What time is it?
It's 1, 2 in the morning by this time.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
So
keep in mind, we're physically exhausted. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I can only 5 hours.
We got no layers on. I'm in a long sleeve T-shirt basically, and pants and hip boots, and Ross is about the same. Not even hip boots. I had my knee boots on that day.
Yep.
And we walked through the marsh. I've got a boot full of water. I mean,
fuck.
Ross is like, well, we'll just wait here till morning. I'm like, no.
Can't do that.
I mean, it's dropped like 20 degrees. I mean, it's starting
could
to
be a
sprinkle
problem.
rain. Oh yeah, it could be a problem. You're not going to start a fire. And even so, we had no way of starting a fire because everything was back at the kill site.
We talk about this a lot. Everything in Alaska, every action has a reaction. Okay, and if we would have chose to,
you guys talk about that on the pre-moose podcast.
Yes, if we
Cody, we should have had you in on that pre-moose podcast too.
If we would have chosen to do what I wanted to do and to lay down and try to sleep a few hours that night, we probably would have went home because we had no rain gear on. It wasn't raining at that time. Like, I was comfortable. I had a hoodie on, but these guys were a little lighter than me. If we would have laid down and tried to slept right there, it was raining that by the time it broke light that morning. So we had a trash bag, the only thing we had with us. So we would all been nut to butt with a trash bag over us trying to stay dry.
Damn.
And I guarantee you we would have got hypothermia and we'd have probably been going home on day 3.
Yeah.
Damn.
So luckily,
all because you wanted to make a shitty call.
Exactly. So have some buddies.
I was kidding about that, but
I was so tired I didn't care. I wanted to lay down and go to bed.
Yeah.
But these guys are like, no, we got to find our way back. So by some miracle, we backtracked, found our way back, and looked and saw my headlight that I had hung on that branch over that meat glowing about probably 300 or 400 yards away.
And I was pissed.
I've never seen a more beautiful sign in my life.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw.
To add more in this, when we hung that headlight, it was going dead.
No shit.
Like 2 hours later, after we've been lost, we're pretty lucky of this headlight because it was flashing when we hung it.
Yeah, it's a $20 piece of shit too. It's not a high quality light.
So it saved us. So we made the decision. We decided to go back in. Ross's headlight was going dead.
I said, "Fuck no."
He's like, no.
My headlight started blinking.
Ross
and
is
I'm
pissed and exhausted at this time. He's like, "I'm going to sit on the boat. You guys go do whatever you want to do." I told these guys,
I'm like, I'm getting fucking mad. Like, it's time. I want to go back. I want to go back to the tent. I'm sick and tired of it. We found the boat. I give a shit less about that gear. Like, it's time to go back to the boat. Yeah. I'm done.
And we would have been fine with that too, but the problem was Cody had like one rain jacket and that's it. Like, if that jacket gets wet, the hunt might be over for him. So when we wake up the next morning and it's raining, we're like, oh fuck. All like our Glocks are set now.
We slept like what, three hours?
We probably slept 3 hours. We got up, it was light and it was raining. We're like, guys, we got to get back in there and get this gear.
So we did.
We made it back in. Luckily, I had tucked away most of my gear in my pack. Cody, your jacket was still setting out, but it wasn't a hard rain, so it wasn't drenched.
Well, and it was laying on the wet side. It was kind of over a bush, so luckily the inside didn't get very wet. But no, it all worked out good. Like I said,
and we found our phones. We found all of everybody found their guns. I mean, everything was good. We walked right to the damn spot.
Right.
Like in the daylight, you can walk right to it, but in the dark. Yeah. It's stupid.
Well, yeah, I can just tell from the little bit of footage I've seen. It's like in the dark, it's like everything looks the same. Like, I got turned around in South Dakota in the dark, and you'd be like, yeah, it's flat.
I'm thoroughly pissed to admit that I got lost. I mean, I've told everybody forever. I'm really sharp on directions. Just trust me.
I mean, yeah, but you're also in the bush in Alaska, dude. Like, it's not like you can blindfold me and throw me in a random building. I can tell you which way is north here in Illinois.
We're kind of downplaying how serious the situation was because it's not like there's a highway that you can walk to. Like, oh, if I walk far enough, I'll run into a road. Like, when you get lost up there, it's serious shit.
Yeah.
And the difference between staying warm and having hypothermia is a pretty fine line. When you get up there and you get turned around with the wrong gear on your back, it goes from all fun and games to real serious shit in about an hour.
Yeah.
And we were lost for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I mean, that's scary stuff, dude. It's a good thing you guys were together because one of you guys.
The thing about it is, honestly, I wouldn't want to. It's a very touchy situation, but to be stuck in that situation and be losing your mind and not. I mean, it's just like when you're swimming and you're feeling like you're going to drown. I mean, you'll drown anybody next to you, but in that situation, all three of us held together, and Austin was ready to just park it for the night. I entertained that idea. Cody's like, I ain't fucking doing that. Like, this ain't gonna work. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna, you know what? I ain't gonna do it either. We got to backtrack and go.
Yeah, and what I'll say is, in that situation, I mean, all three of us pretty much kept our heads. Nobody got mad.
We were close.
Screamed and yelled at each other. I mean, we were
all frustrated and a little scared.
That's being with the right group and in the right situation, honestly, because I feel that way. Like, you go out with like Clint and Devin. You could be like, we were in misery together, and maybe not the same type of misery, different misery, but also still misery. And it's like we're all calculated still. Yep. Like that says a lot that you're with the right crew in the right situation, because you got somebody who wants to be a bitch and break down and panic, and then it ruins the rest of the trip.
Yep.
Like
we were borderline, dude. I mean, it was close because we got back there. I mean, even at 3:30 in the morning when we got back and finally laid down, it was like, shit, dude, all of our gear's wet. It's going to get rained on. Like, wait, what are we going to do right now? We're screwed. Like, are we going home? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, what do we
At that point, dude, we entertained the idea of going home.
Well, we didn't really have to entertain it. Like, Alaska's going to make that decision for you. Yeah. Like, if it would have been raining, it would have been hard to get gear dried out. And luckily, it rained the first 3 days, and after day number 3, the weather kind of broke, and it gave us a chance to make our little redneck clothesline and hang up all of our gear, and it all dried out on day 4. So we were wet and kind of miserable on day 3, and then by day 4, we'd started drying out, and we were good the rest of the trip.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so where do we go? Go ahead, Cody, if you got some.
I was going to say, we learned to mark every spot in our GPS.
Yes, the GPS was the first thing we used at a kill site.
What are you guys using for GPS? Like,
it's just a cheap little Garmin, like an old one.
Oh, really?
Yep.
And we also started marking everything with orange flagging tape. Like, I started marking our trails in and out.
See, I marked some shit with a Garmin InReach in Wyoming, and it fucked me.
Really?
Because I could never find the line it snapped. Like, it was like always 50, 100 yards in front of me, and it got me more lost.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm. So I was using Onyx offline, and like, even though you can't zoom in real well if you don't have the area downloaded, you can find your line at least.
Okay.
Like when I was in Wyoming, I kind of got turned around in the dark, and I walked around for an hour and a half looking for the line you could never get to that I marked on my InReach.
Yep.
And I got lucky and just found the trail. Where the next day I'm tracking on Onyx, and Onyx was like, dude, impressive, honestly. So I don't know if it worked the same in Alaska.
Yeah.
I was about ready to chuck my InReach into the woods. I'm not kidding. Like, this is worthless. But anyway, so
I would have chucked a lot of things into the woods, but I didn't have anything to chuck.
Yeah, we didn't have a whole lot to spare.
Nothing left to chuck.
No.
All right, so where do we go from here? You guys get this moose.
All right, so day 2's over. We can make it back. And
can I emphasize on a few things before we move on here? I want to talk more about the moose itself, like body wise, like the heart, the back straps, the quarters, like kind of just talk about that in whatever way that you experienced it.
Well, the quarters are big. The front quarters are big, but the back quarters are a handful.
Yep.
Our moose that we killed, all 3 of our moose, I wouldn't say any of them were giants. They were all medium-sized moose. Rear quarters well over 100 pounds, I would say. Our pack ounce were close enough. Most of the time, we would just take the quarters and throw on our shoulder versus putting them in our pack and just shoulder them out. 150-yard walk with that kind of weight on your back's manageable.
Yeah.
But
if you say so.
We did it. But we also tested the packs too and put some weight in the packs, and it was definitely more comfortable in the pack. But no, the back straps are enormous. The heart was the size of my head. We pulled that heart out of Cody's and fried it up, and we've got that picture in there somewhere, but I'm holding the heart next to my head, and it's literally the same size as my head. They're just bigger on every scale. Like I've shot elk before. They're a huge animal, but they're not a moose. They're just not even comparable.
So in this photo here, am I seeing the first shot and the second shot?
That's both. That's the first shot on both. So it nicked his front leg and then nicked his brisket.
Gotcha. Okay. Golly, man, that's a giant animal.
It's fun though, breaking them down. Like,
hey, we kind of perfected the gutless method there by the end. I think we got it going.
We were worried about leaving the guts in them and how to get the ribs out, because you have to take the whole rib cage out in one piece.
Oh, I got you.
So Cody devised a way. The first one we did was with Ross's little mini saw, and then by the end of it, we're using the big Wyoming saw and hacking through the top side. And then Cody knew right where to cut in the front around the shoulders, and then the bottom side was a fairly easy cut. And, you know, 2-man team, one guy pulling on ribs to keep the tension off the saw. Everybody's got their job when you're doing this.
Yeah, you learn quick, I bet.
By the last one, we had it down to science.
If we had a fourth tag, I mean, we would have had it done in about 3 hours.
Yep.
Well, and the sad thing is we spent 5.5 hours on Austin's moose, and we didn't do near as good a job with the meat.
Yep.
I mean, we kind of butchered some stuff a little bit.
Well,
just the learning process.
Of course.
I nicked the gut, which was bad.
I seen it in one photo. I was going to bring it up. But
I nicked it actually twice, and
oops,
and that was bad.
Poopy.
And the meat got a little dirt on it, and then it got rained on that night. So the big 3 things in Alaska are clean and dry and cool. And it was cool enough, but we struggled with the other parts of that. So we haven't got the meat back yet. Hopefully everything turned out okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. Okay. That's day 2.
That's day 2.
Hey, congratulations. Like, for real. That's an accomplishment to do it that quick.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm proud of you, boys.
It felt good to kind of read the terrain and actually have the animals react the way that I thought they were going to. And then to call them in, it was just, couldn't have been more happy.
Because I was kind of keeping up with both, like, Ross and Austin through the Zolio. And we were kind of just texting. I was like the communicator between you guys and the OGs.
Okay.
So I was kind of like up to. I would do. I don't know if you guys look back and saw those messages. I would be like moose update, and then I would quote what you guys would send me through Zolio.
Nice.
Did you guys see those messages?
I didn't look back.
So it'd be like, guys, but what's the update? And then eventually I'd get one. I'd be like moose update, and then I would just like copy and paste what you guys would say into the OG chat.
Yep.
So okay. So where do we go from here?
Day number 3 was kind of recoup day. So we went and met the guide. He dropped in, picked the meat up the next day. We loaded the plane up. He got out. We went back to camp. We were running on 2 or 3 hours of sleep. We pretty much slept the afternoon away, woke up that night, kind of went out and we had some bulls right next to camp actually that night.
Yeah, we weren't planning on hunting, but we literally had a bull raking 100 yards to each side of us,
and then some.
Yeah, and then some. So we kind of went out, set up a little bit, and played
ended up having like 3.
Yeah, played with some bulls for a little bit. Really, the last big action we had there.
Yeah, day number 4, we started to get pretty disheartened. The action just kind of died, and we couldn't figure out what had happened. Like when we got turned around and got lost, we were kind of talking normal voices, but we weren't yelling, you know?
Yeah.
So like we couldn't have blown everything out. What's going on here? Day number 4 was slow, and day number 5 was pretty slow.
But even day 3, we started hearing quite a few gunshots.
Yep.
So
really,
the Yukon River's only about 600 yards from our campsite, realistically, on the one side, and then there's kind of a slough behind us about 300-400 yards.
Yeah,
Ross?
I'd say.
Ross and I did some investigating. The natives, the locals,
Eskimos
did quite a bit of hunting on the Yukon, and we probably heard 50-60 shots.
Whoa!
I mean, a bunch.
Yeah, mini 14s, AR-15s. I mean, they were letting her eat.
And then
really,
then behind us, another outfitter had a group obviously close enough that they were in a boat on that slough behind us. So day 3 and 4, day 3, 4, and 5 were kind of disheartening. Yep. We didn't see a whole lot.
We were getting pissed,
and that's a frustrating situation. Like the time, the planning, the money, all this.
And we're supposed to be on an Alaskan Yukon trip.
Yeah. You don't want to hear anybody.
No.
Yeah.
And that true remote Alaskan experience is getting harder and harder to come by, I think. I mean, judging from what we saw in both camps, there's a lot of people. There's people everywhere up there.
Yep.
And
it's just crazy.
Yep.
So kind of flash forward, we didn't see a whole lot, 3, 4, and 5. I mean, Ross and I were starting to wonder. I mean, the other thing is we weren't getting a whole lot of response to the call.
Nope.
So we raked a lot.
Yep.
I cow called quite a bit.
He's got a sexy cow call too.
We thought we sounded all right. Of course, we don't know.
Sounded real good.
It was way better than them natives were doing.
Yeah, weren't getting a whole lot of response, so we're starting to get a little disheartened. It's like Austin said, it's flat up there, so it's always windy. There's always a breeze, and when it's raining, it's kind of cold and kind of miserable.
Yeah.
So it starts to become a mind game at that point.
Yeah,
you're kind of trying to keep yourself psyched up, but you're not seeing a lot. And what we were seeing were real small bulls. And when I say small bulls, I mean we're talking
smaller than mine,
like this.
we're a lot smaller.
We're talking like antlers the size of my hands.
Normally, this is my I got this from a guy I grew up hunting with, Jim Burns. I got to get him on the podcast. We were on the phone with Jim Burns one night here. He does this. Buck came in. He was like this, and that's his He was a small buck, I'm holding my hands up like an asshole. And I love Cody did this.
Just so that's a little moose
thumbs together.
Yeah, there you go.
Here's a little moose. Here's a little buck.
Not much difference.
Yeah. Okay. So
he's not jacking around though.
Bulls.
I mean, it was little bulls.
Yeah, they were little bulls. Austin actually sat with me, so we'll kind of flash forward because day 3, 4, 5.
The biggest thing that happened to us on day 4 or 5 was we heard a gunshot extremely close to camp.
Oh yeah,
and we were already pissed at this point. Like, what's going on?
Yep.
And we hear this gunshot, and then we can hear guys talking from our camp,
talking like we're talking
300 or
right
400
now.
yards away. Like they're not yelling, they're just talking, and we're like, what the hell? So this other outfitter had dropped in on us. These guys had taken a boat or something up this little slough and shot a moose probably within 400 yards of our camp.
And the crazy thing is, dude, when that gunshot went off, we were sitting there. It's like being on the receiving end of somebody on a deer drive. And we could hear clop, like slopping through the water, all these
hear moose
hooves hitting. And they ran right up to us.
Yeah, we had a couple moose run up right up by camp. Yep. I mean, so
he was so Cody was on the phone with the outfitter letting him know we're listening to these guys talk, and all of a sudden we got moose running right into our laps.
Yeah, so I'm on the phone with it, Papa Bear, going, hey, what's the deal here? We've obviously got people in here pretty close. We weren't supposed to have anybody within a mile and a half. It's not really their fault. They did a great job. I can't knock them at all, but we were disheartened. I mean,
of course, yeah. So anybody would be.
And we're kind of mad. So we're talking to our outfitter, and they're like, "Well, call us back tomorrow." This is what's going on. These guys. I'm talking to the outfitter on the phone. These guys here are hearing moose run up by camp.
Yeah, we're telling him to shut up.
Like,
so
shut
we're
up.
about ready to shoot.
We grabbed the gun. We're like, shit, we're getting in on this moose drive.
Cody, shut the fuck up. He's like, hey, I'm trying to make this better for us.
Yeah. And he walked right up to us, and I'm like, dude, you got to back off. I'm about ready to let this 300 Win Mag rip. So just go away for a little bit.
The outfitter crack.
It's been 3 days since I shot mine. We're ready to let the lead fly.
Yeah.
So we kind of go to bed that night, and I'm not gonna lie, my spirits were down.
I wasn't.
I wasn't real happy. I don't think Ross was.
I think anybody listening would be in the same sense of morale or state of morale.
So they tell us to call at what, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, something like that on the next day.
Call us tomorrow.
Call us tomorrow. So we go to bed with the game plan of getting up and hunting like normal. Mm-hmm. So Ross ends up going kind of down in the area that Austin shot his, couple 100 yards further in though, right, Ross?
Yep. Couple 100 yards in.
Austin and I take the boat across, and we walk across and go to another waterway that we haven't hunted, just kind of to glass and watch and see what's going on, kind of investigate what's going on a little further away. We see one real small bull and a cow.
Yep.
Didn't really have an exciting morning. Well, Ross shoots one.
Yep. So
go ahead, Ross.
Austin's like, man, that pinch point down there is hot. You got to get back on it. Mm-hmm. Even though we've been down there and jacking around, just get down there. So I got down there and I made myself a little nest and thought, he's like, you got to get right on the edge of the water. If you don't, then, you ain't going to see them. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, well, I got down there, but 30 yards away.
I don't mean to interrupt,
but
do you guys want to take a drink and bathroom break quick and then come back to this?
Sure.
That'd be good.
Is that a good time to do it?
Yep.
Kind of like a cliffhanger?
because we're going to dive in deep here.
Yeah.
So.
I don't want to interrupt. Wade, you good with the cameras? That's probably a good idea. Okay. Hey, quick break, mid-rolls. What's up? We'll be right back in a second. Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the podcast. The podcast is also brought to you by HHA Sports. We've been partnered with HHA for a long time, and we have a code WCB15 if you're wanting to get into your own HHA single pin sight. They also have 3-pin heads. You can get drop away rest, stabilizer setups that are all backed by a lifetime warranty and made in the USA. And they support our veterans with our veteran shout out and HHA USA. So a great company support, Wisconsin based, Wisconsin proud. We're proud to be partnered with them. And then another thing, code there is WCB15. If you're wondering about all our partners and if we have promo codes or anything like that for them to save yourself some money when you go to support our partners, you can either go to workingclassbowhunter.com, hit our partners tab, and I have promo codes for WCB listeners with all the promo codes listed. And then, and also on each partner's icon, you can just click that and it takes you to their website. So you don't have to like search again, or go to like our Instagram profile. I have a link tree in there that has a spot for veteran shout outs. I have a spot for promo codes, all that. So make it easy for you guys. We'll have it all listed there so you guys can save some coin and hopefully it helps you. So awesome. Shout out to HHA. Also Huntworth Camouflage and Clothing. They have some great camo patterns and they have some great clothing. I used the shit out of it in Wyoming. It performed flawlessly. The boys used it up in Alaska. It's durable and it's awesome for the price. Farm and Fleet carries it. Fleet Farm carries it. And I know that right there handles a lot of the Midwestern areas. A lot of farm stores have it in their hunting sections. Farm King carries it. So it's easy to find. They're known for their gloves. I think Walmart carries their gloves. But for not a lot of money, you can be into an entire setup that you need for early, mid, and late season. I've already been using their rain jacket the other day when it poured rain on me in the tree stand. Love it. And the camo patterns are great. You can't beat it. It's high quality clothing for not a lot of money. So if you are due for an upgrade, check out Huntworth. Tell them we sent you. I'm really proud to be rocking it, especially because it's affordable and you can get it about anywhere. It's really hard to argue with, and it's great stuff. The podcast is also brought to you by ISOtunes Sport, and code for them is WCB10. So if you're unfamiliar with ISOtunes is or ISOtunes Sport, it's hearing protection that's basically designed for our lifestyle. So I wear you can listen to music with them too, Bluetooth to their phone, to your phone, and it's noise canceling. I wear them while I mow or when I'm on my tractor mower. I know Eric wears them at work while he's welding and doing fab work. Austin wears them when he's doing farm work. It's awesome stuff. And if you listen to podcasts, it doubles down. You can listen to a podcast while you're mowing without having that mower sound drown out your headphones. So check them out. Link in our partners link on our website, ISOtunes Sport, code WCB10. Really proud of that partnership, and it's great people over there. And also Combination Creative. We've talked a lot about Combination Creative in the past. If you are a podcaster, a outdoor video producer, anything like that, you need a logo, you need a website, you need graphic work done, you need custom music done for an intro, anything like that, and you want to avoid like all the copyright stuff with music, hit up Jordan at Combination Creative. Tell him Working Class Bowhunter sent you. He will work with you automatically just from saying that on pricing. The dude is just top notch. He's easy to work with. It takes the stress and headache out of getting stuff like that made. So check it out. Combination Creative. Tell him we sent you. And here's Doug with a veteran shout out, mobile veteran shout out, and we'll get you back to the episode. So thanks for tuning in. We appreciate the support, and I know our partners appreciate the support from you guys as well.
Hey guys, as always, this veteran shout out is brought to you by Operation HHA USA. Check them out at hhausa.org. This veteran shout out was submitted by Norman Farley. The veteran is Case Dobbins. So he served in the U.S. Army. A graduate of West Point, currently ranked major, is currently serving a tour with the 1st Cavalry Division in Germany/Poland after having served 2 former tours in Afghanistan in 2010 to 2011 and 2012 to 2013 with the 10th Mountain Division and with the 3rd Infantry Division respectively. Also says a natural born leader that I am proud to call both my friend and my brother. Our country is a better place with men like him serving. For hunting and archery experiences, not much of a hunter, but hopefully I can change that. So hopefully get Case out there and start tipping shit over. Once again, thank you for your service, Case, and good luck to you guys this hunting season.
And we're back. Welcome back to the Working Class Bowhunter Podcast 106.9 The Rock. What's going on, guys? All right. We're
Not
back.
too much here.
I just like to do that a lot.
I don't know how to come on with that.
What do the rest of these buttons do? Okay. Just making sure I had them all lined up. Sorry. Ross is getting ready to shoot a bull.
So we, Austin said, man, that pinch point down there, that's where you got to go. So I ended up going down there, marched a long ways. I didn't realize how far it was, but ended up going all the way down there, setting up in this little perch, made myself a nest.
How are you feeling right now? Like with everything, like the last few days is kind of not.
Honestly, I got it in my head like everybody's going to be on edge. I'm sure at this point, moose wise. There's a lot of shooting going on around us. I don't know. I mean, okay. I figured this was probably the one spot we had left to maybe get a bow opportunity, but I didn't know for sure. So I went down there. I made my little nest, pruned my little tree up just right, so I got my shooting lanes. Packed 2 little dude wipes and took a shit. And
thank you for that detail.
Got that out of the way.
Right, of course.
Literally walked right back up there, and I mean, I hadn't been there 10 minutes, and I hear slosh like a big old whoosh. I'm like, damn, that's like straight up hoof in the water. So I start kind of poking my head around, looking, and I could see right through the bush. There's this big old, the one that I kind of called silverback, but he was the bigger one that Austin had the encounter with a few days prior, and he was real wide, weak paddles, but super wide. But he looked like the color of a donkey, like he was just like gray.
silver grayish.
He was a true swamp donkey.
Swamp donkey. There you go.
Maybe that's where that came from.
So, anyways, he's like nose down, slurping up some moss and whatever moose do, and he was doing his thing, and I thought, well, if there's a chance I'm going to get a shot at this thing, I'm going to have to sneak up here, and I got to make myself like 12 yards, 15 yards, something like that, get around this little bunch of bushes, and I'll probably have a shot at him. So I was like eking through the grass as slow as I could, didn't make any noise. He was on edge the whole time. He finally, like, we had a
What did you say on edge? Was it like on edge like a whitetail's on edge?
Yep.
Really?
Just like a whitetail. I mean, he was on edge, looking over his shoulder the whole time, looking my direction, and the wind was in my face. But he was like constantly looking downwind.
Yeah. You think it's because of pressure?
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's just always looking over his back. And I got down there, and I started creeping, and I got up there right about where I wanted to be. And he finally picked his head up and looked. I mean, he was staring right at me for 10 minutes ahead of that, but he put his head back down, and I'm like, well, sweet, this is good. He's going to just start moving into position. I can get a shot at him. I ranged him. He was 30 yards, put his head back down, like perfect broadside 30-yard shot. And he picked his head up, looked my direction, and then just started marching away. And I at this point, I'd already ranged him, rolled my sight, went to 30 yards. This is an easy quarter away shot. And he ended up walking away from me. So I'm at full draw. I went to full draw because it should have been an easy shot. But he's walking away from me, and he makes it out to about 41, 42. I didn't let back down. I didn't adjust my sight. Just aimed at the top of his back, and he was a hard quartered away shot. Let it rip, and I hit him right behind the shoulder, and it was way low. And I knew right off the bat, I'm like, Jiminy Christmas, I just blew that shot. But
like a nick low?
Like I wanted to hit about 6 inches higher than where I hit. It would have been a heart shot, but
6 inches higher would have been a heart shot.
Yeah, 6 inches higher, but I think I hit him brisket.
Just meat, flesh wound, basically.
Yep. So he took off, and about, I don't know, he made it 50 yards, spilled some pretty good blood. I messaged Austin on the Zolio. He didn't have his phone with him at the time, but I ended up going after him on my own, waiting on those guys because they were over in another spot. But ended up waiting on him for a little bit, and I'm like, fuck it, I gotta go. So I went in there, started tracking him, and good blood, and then it just disappeared. It just all ran out. So we went back. We ended up meeting at the boat, like we said, at noon or 12:30, and went back to camp. And we were like, well, do we go hunt tonight or should we get back on that trail? So we ended up getting back on that trail because that was the right thing to do, and just figure out what was the right, what'd he do, where'd he go? Let's find the blood. So we went and tracked down as much as we could, and basically it just ran out. There was nothing there. Yeah. So we pulled out. We went back.
Sounds like a flesh wound.
We actually called the outfitter and let him know that we had hit an animal, because they said, communication's key. So if you do hit something and you can't find it, let us know. We'll fly in and try to look from the plane. And we saw them. They come in. What was it? I don't know how long after we called them that they were in there.
I'll back up just a little bit. So we were supposed to call the outfitter from day 5 because we'd had the interference and stuff. We were supposed to call the outfitter at I don't know. We'll call it 1 o'clock.
Yep.
So we call the outfitter at 1 o'clock, and now the whole tone's changed. Hey, we got a moose hit. So instead of talking about the issues we were having,
we should get out of here because we've had lots of shots. I just shot a bull.
So
so they're like, man, fuck you guys.
Now we've kind of moved over to, well, we've got a moose hit. Can you help us out? Because they did say spoilage and everything else is a huge deal in Alaska. So they want you to contact them, and they'll come in and fly some circles and stuff, because if basically Ross would have been done. Yep. So he drew blood without them coming in and doing a flyover, unless they can verify there's not a dead moose somewhere. He's done. Yeah. So we talked to them. They're like, well, we can't get a plane until the next day. So we're kind of bumming. We're like, well, okay, we're down. So that night we decided to go out.
Well, we just walked out after trailing this bull and couldn't find nothing. We went back to camp, and then we were like, well, we got to go hunting tonight. And Cody, you're obviously the one up because you haven't had your opportunity yet. And what the hell? We just got out there, and then all of a sudden,
we talked to the outfitter. Wasn't gonna have a plane till the next morning. I decided I'm just gonna take the rifle, go out, sit by the water, see what we see. Go out there. Austin and Ross both joined me pretty short after. We see a really nice, the biggest bull we've seen in the whole trip. Probably
he was a mondo.
Clear, probably 500 yards from us.
Well, in about the exact same spot where Ross had shot his moose that morning with the bow, probably within 50 yards of that exact point. This same point where all my 3 bulls come out, Ross shot his bull there, and then we just saw this mega there, and we're like, holy shit, that one's worth going after. So I'm immediately like, grab the packs, grab the rifle, let's make our move.
We had to make a move about 200, 300 yards from where we were at to get closer to him.
So we did. We hustled. We got down there, got as far as we could to the tip of the water, set up, and I saw that moose about 5 minutes later just kind of moving through the brush, but he never did come towards us. So we're just kind of perched up there on our little elevated spot, kind of looking over this open area right next to where I had killed my moose.
Yeah, basically shooting across the body of water from where Austin had killed his is where we're stationed. We sat there, a couple of hours. Well, in the time, our outfitter brings a plane in and flies over for Ross's moose, which we didn't know it was him. It was a different plane than they'd flown us in. I'm upset.
Right after we saw this mega giant, there's a plane flying over.
So the best moose we've seen the whole trip. We got a plane flying over, and then the outfitter that set up behind us, they fly in 3 times. So they're taking hunters and gear and meat out of the field.
So at this point, this is the perfect opportunity. We got a giant working his way towards us, and Cody is losing his mind, pissed.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I was mad. So like I said, the best moose we've seen the whole trip. We're kind of in position. Yeah, we can't get a moment's peace. I mean, and so we sat there for a while, and we're calmed down, and we sat there probably a couple hours, and we see 2 bulls, but we don't really have a clear view. We can see them in the brush. They're moving, so we had some shooting sticks, and what were they? 30 inches tall, Ross?
Oh yeah, they're junk. I mean, they're just little shooting sticks.
But the grass was 30 inches tall, so we're set up right on the water's edge, and then on the other side of the water that we're on, there's brush right on the edge. That brush Austin had set in and shot his moose, actually, which is probably 4 or 5 foot tall.
Yep.
So we're sitting there and these moose are moving. So I kind of get in position.
Everything's happening pretty fast because Ross and I were just kind of, sitting below the grass, and Cody's watching. He's like, moose right there, and he's scrambling to get to the gun. And then Ross and I get the binoculars up, and we're watching, and I'm watching. I'm like, okay, the right one's not that big. The left one's the bigger of the two. So I'm kind of calling for him because he's not really trying to judge. He's just trying to get on the gun and get ready for the shot.
Yeah. So then I get my binos up, and I'm like, oh, yeah, he's right. I mean, the one on the left is the one that you want to shoot for sure.
And there's really only one opening. So what was that? Probably a 20, 50-yard opening there.
20, I would say.
So
yeah.
you got to make your decision.
Yeah. So we're watching these bulls, and they're kind of playing around, kind of some pre-rut stuff, mixing antlers and stuff a little bit, and they're moving up. And the first one steps through, and I'm kind of trying to see him in the scope, but I'm having a hard time. The crosshairs are right at the brush line, and so the second one gets up, and
Cody
Ross
said, "I can't see him."
And Ross and Austin are like, "Shoot him!" I'm like, "Well, every time
if you can't see him, you better fucking see him real fast, dude."
Hey, how about you see him real fucking fast here?
So finally, I get a scope full of brown, and I'm like, "Okay." Boom.
Turbo.
And none of us were ready. I mean, just rung our bells. And that 300 Win Mag goes off, and just our ears are howling.
I was about to pull the binos up to my face, and I'm like, come.
So it's like, hit him again. Shoot him again.
Cody's sitting there trying to look at him through the scope. I'm like, rack another one. Get him again.
Let it eat.
So long story short, I pumped a couple out and stood up and shot him again, and he didn't go, what, 15, 20 yards. It wasn't very far. But
and Austin watched him lay his head down.
Yeah.
And we were,
How far a shot?
About 200 yards.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it was, we ranged it. It was like 240, 260 to the trees, and he was this side of the tree. So
awesome.
Somewhere around the 200 range mark. But like I said, pretty excited, pretty happy. Like I said, it definitely upped the tempo. We got in there. Austin and Ross actually went and got our Pro Pioneer, our boat.
That was fun. We made him stay right there.
Yeah, they're like, don't leave in case he gets up. I'm like, he's down. He's not getting up.
I shot him 12 times.
Plus, we'd already been in the Pioneer several times, and we're like, dude, 3 guys is too much. Let's just get 2.
And you guys took off, and you guys were like 360.
Hey, we didn't do one 360 on the way down. We were like turbo mode the whole way down.
Yeah, so they're rolling down towards me. We get in the boat, and I'm excited, of course. And, and it was an easy walk up to him. Like I said, we knew right where he was.
Where that bull dropped and where I shot my bull was within 50 yards.
Yeah.
And it was funny too.
No
because
kidding.
Yep.
We
I'm trying to go through those pictures.
We ended up caping that bull. I don't want to fast forward too far, but the next day we were waiting on the plane, and Austin's like, "I'm sure my arrow is just right over here," and we ended up marching over. I'm like, "Oh, here it is."
No, who's kidding? Really?
It wasn't, 30, 40 yards
The
from where
first
his bull
arrow that he
died.
shot at his bull,
Yeah.
we picked her right up.
How stoked were you, Cody, walking up on that thing?
Oh, I was ecstatic. I'm so happy with that bull. I can't even explain it. Like I said, he's not huge. His paddles aren't huge. He's got a lot of character.
Yeah.
But just the experience, being with Ross and Austin, like I said, the whole experience. These guys, when I say I couldn't have done it without them, I mean, these guys were in it as much for my bull as they were for their own.
That's the guys you want to go on a hunting trip.
And that's how it is on this trip. I mean, it's a group. It literally is a group trip.
Yep.
It's a group effort.
You gotta want to see your buddies kill bulls too.
For sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And the biggest thing to take away from this whole trip is all 3 of us were fortunately and we were all very fortunate to all get bulls and bring them home. I mean, there was a couple of times even before Cody killed his, we were like, this spot is screwed. I don't know where we're going yet. I don't know if we're even going to get bulls. Like, we might only come home with Austin's bull.
Yep.
And I think we said several times amongst the 2 of us, like, well, I hope Austin's willing to share his meat, because we're going to get hungry when we get home. We're going to need some of that moose meat.
That was kind of the agreement.
This definitely upped the tempo, kind of the hunt again. Of course, anytime I kill, and
we just saw that giant. The biggest bull we'd seen the whole trip was on day number, what was it, 6?
6, yeah. 6. So 6 was an exciting day. I mean, Ross shot one, I shot one. We saw a big bull, but we still had to call the outfitter back. So
right.
As soon as once you get to the bull, you're supposed to let the outfitter know, you know, and then they make arrangements to get the meat in. You're responsible at that point to have the meat at a certain point, an accessible point and stuff. So we call the outfitter and they're like, oh, hey, we talked, we're going to move you.
And we're all like,
after he just killed.
Yeah, we're like, that'd been nice to know, you know. But anyway, we were all really excited still, and like I said, no disappointment.
This is my favorite photo of that bull so far.
Yeah, he's cool. He almost reminds you of like a star. Like he's got wicked sharp points that come way out sharp. His paddles aren't super wide or heavy, but he's got wicked long points kind of starring out. He's cool,
he's got like the I don't know what you'd call them, the 2 points here, here and here, and here and here. That is cool. That's what you're talking about. He's starred out like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
It's so weird too, because until I hunted moose, I didn't realize how unique each rack was.
Yeah.
When you go up there and you look at a pile of 15 of them, so many different characteristics, like no brow tine's the same. I mean, the mass, the palmation, the dips, the color.
That's a good photo right there.
So
that shows them off, I think.
Yep. So much diversity in their rack. There's that heart picture.
So I will tell you that one of the highlights of the hunt for me anyway. I can't speak for Austin and Ross, but so Austin for several years now, he's been hey, I really like deer heart.
Yeah,
cooking deer heart. Never really partaken at any deer heart or anything like that. So we were in a hurry on Austin's. Of course, the whole getting lost thing. We didn't save any meat to cook at camp. We got it out. So we decided we had a little more time on my moose. It went a little smoother. Yeah, I'm like, you're gonna cook the heart. We get back to camp. Yeah. So we get back to camp pretty late. It was 1 o'clock or so when we got back to camp. Yeah. So at 2 a.m. or so, Austin's cooking a moose heart. We got some pictures actually of him actually cooking it.
Yep.
And I'll be honest with you, just
olive oil, Lowry, salt and pepper.
Right here. These are the photos.
Yep. Just sharing that with these two guys, and that experience right there was something I'll never forget.
The rice wasn't awesome. To die for.
So we played with the rice a little bit. We had some Lowry salt in the rice.
And some olive oil.
Put some Lowry's in the damn.
No, we ate it. We were hungry.
But the heart was awesome. Like I said, Austin did an awesome job with it.
And, I think we ate about half of that heart, and that was a big heart.
I'll definitely recommend anybody that hasn't tried it.
Yeah.
Be open-minded, give it a shot, because it was very, very good flavored.
Deer heart, and I can't speak for moose heart, but I'm sure it's similar,
just bigger,
just way more delicious. I just cook it with like onions and garlic pepper salt and fry it in a pan, but I've deep fried it too, and it's still good.
Yep, you got to be careful on overcooking heart. That's the biggest thing.
It gets chewy real fast. Yeah, that's good.
And that's what I told these guys. They were getting nervous. They could still see blood in it. I'm like, guys, just trust me on this one.
Yeah,
you don't want to go good. You don't want to go medium well on the heart.
He did really good. It's the leanest meat you'll ever have. Really,
it's just a muscle. It's freaking delicious.
I cut them valves out. That aorta was just pumping at me. I'm like, shit.
I gave that one to Ross just to freak him out a little bit.
You never ate deer heart, Ross?
Nope.
Really?
Nope. No, that moose heart was the first one I've ever eaten.
My buddy Tyler and I, one time, I killed a doe and I saved the heart, and we ate it raw. Not the whole thing raw.
I can say, damn.
We ate a piece of it raw. Like I was like, you want to try some of the? I had it cut up on the plate.
That's like some Dances with Wolves.
That's what I was going to say.
I was like, egg and flour and all that, and it's like, hey, you want to try a piece raw? He's like, I'll do it if you do it. So I grabbed a piece, not thinking he was going to do it. So I grabbed a piece. I'm like, look at him, and he like looks at me, and I'm like, committed through it, and then I was like, all right, cheers. And I was like looking at him as I'm getting ready to put it in my mouth. I'm like, are you gonna do it, you bitch? And then he did it, and I was like,
but you did it.
And I threw it. It tastes like metal.
A lot of iron.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't eat like a chunk. It wasn't like I was like gnawing on it. It was like, like a bite-sized piece, Right. But
I wasn't very open-minded about it, and then I started watching Daniel Wilson. She's always sharing deer heart recipes and recipes of all kinds. I'm like, I'm going to try that.
Bad bitch right there. What's up, Daniel?
I did it, and literally my son Cody was like 3 at the time. It's his favorite cut of meat. To this day, if we have deer heart, he'll clean his whole plate.
It's a special treat.
It just has a different texture to it, and for whatever reason, that's his favorite.
I'd say after that, I'm definitely saving the heart.
Yeah,
here on out.
That was my old man's like. Like I always like to cook it, and we cook. My dad was like the cook, dude. Like my old man's biscuits and gravy, dude. I don't care if you know someone that makes good biscuits and gravy. It's not like my old man's.
Shit.
It ain't shit, dude. And But my dad, like, he always wanted to cook deer heart, and we kind of made it a thing. And like, I got just, you get in a hurry, you're cleaning the deer, you just want to get it moving on the way, and you pull it out. Hey, did you get the heart? And I'm like, oh, I forgot. And I'd be like, you want to go back and get it? And
like total fail.
Yeah. So I'm like, damn it, I forgot. But yeah, that was my old man's thing. Like,
nice.
Get the heart.
Yeah.
Onions and garlic. If you're just going to like pan sear it, we do like chop onions and put it in there.
Yep.
And garlic salt. But like frying it's good too,
Yep.
Season the flour and all that and do that.
Yep.
But good times. That's awesome, man. What an experience in camp.
Yeah, like I said, that it's something I'll never forget. Like I said, it was a great time.
Cody, are you a big whitetail hunter and stuff too, or?
I haven't. Austin and I bow hunted a lot in high school, and after high school, a little bit of bow hunted. When I moved to Iowa, I haven't bow hunted a lot since then.
Yeah.
But definitely something I'm moving towards getting back into.
Yeah, for sure.
He's kind of busy. I mean,
he's a traditional guy. He loves traditional archery.
No kidding.
Yep.
Awesome, man. Yeah, because you and I met several times and all that, and I know you and Austin are real close. And I know, like, working on your truck, I always hear about how good of a mechanic you are. Like, you're just working class type of guy.
He'll never say
awesome.
it, but the guy's a mechanical genius. I've never met anybody that knows his way around the shop like Cody does.
I can tell
crazy intelligent.
I know more than our listeners will know, but I've got that heads up from Austin. But I can tell by the way you talk about the plane, how like that's shit. And there's just like, and there's certain guys that you hang out with, like this dude knows his way around like anything mechanically inclined is this guy.
Yeah, I just called him yesterday and asked advice on how to get a bearing on a shaft that was froze. So it's nice to have a guy like that in your back pocket. You can call and ask questions about mechanical stuff.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. So, all right, you got your moves, you guys. We're looking at photos, like great camp photos, by the way.
Ross did good. I knew he had the better camera on the iPhone, so I let him kind of take most of the phone pictures.
Can you repeat that?
I'll admit the camera is better.
I saw
the iPhone.
I saw a meme today that said, "No one's more stubborn than a person from Android wanting to move to iPhone."
I saw that too. Holy shit!
I'm still there.
I was laughing so hard. I'm like, "Holy shit, that's true."
You learned
so you're pulling up some pictures now.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's back. Don't go any farther.
Okay. Congratulations, Cody.
Thanks, sir.
That's awesome, dude. I'm happy for you.
So we
so Ross
got the word.
Hold on. Can I want to get to this, but I kind of want to at your I don't know where I'm going with this. You got to be happy but also sad at the same time. Like maybe not sad, but kind of down in the dumps just a wee bit, right? Because you got an opportunity. You got to feel at this point, because you can't predict the future, that it's a missed opportunity a little bit, right?
Yeah, I thought I was going home empty-handed for sure.
Yeah.
But at least we all had opportunities at this point. Like
and
it's day 6 and we'd all had an opportunity.
That's what Austin kept saying, and I was on board with it. I mean, it was like, all right, well,
like we're all
I didn't get my follow-up second shot. Like I'm losing my mind right now. This big old prick just walked out of there. Like he just
How big a bull was he, you think?
I don't know. He might have been 45, 50, maybe wide.
I don't know. If it was the same bull that was with mine, I would say 40s. If mine was 30s, that bull was probably 40s.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, he was wide enough to pay attention to. He's way out past his ears and weak paddles, but
you liked him.
I would. Oh yeah. I mean, like Austin said, I mean, a bow kill's a bow kill. I mean, it's tough to pull that off. I mean, so I got my opportunity, easy peasy. Shoot the damn thing at 30 yards. It would have been awesome, but nope, no slam dunk. I mean, I stuck him, but I knew it was wrong right off the rip. I'm like, well, he's gone. So we followed the blood trail and yada yada. So
typical flesh wound scenario. Yeah.
Yep. He ain't dead. He's still walking around with my $40 arrow. So
on an uplifting note, at this point, we'd broke Cody's down. He's flown out, and now it's like time for some more work. So everything in Alaska's work. Yep. So now we get to break camp. So we tear it all down. We did a pretty fast job. 2 hours?
Yeah,
probably had all of our camp disassembled, packed up, and at the water's edge in 2.5 hours.
And that's leaving everything like we found it.
Yep.
So I mean, other than flattening out grass, I mean, everything was put back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great note on that, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to be. That's the only way you can be is just in and out.
Yeah. Organically left how it was naturally. Yep.
When we talked to our guide, he said, all right, I've got a spot for you. And when he said that, you could just tell by the tone that it was a good one.
Like he had you at the back 40 before.
Like,
but
So you're
now
taking
we're
us to a spot. Like, what spot's that? He goes, it's a sacred spot.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. Well, we didn't know if we were going to fly in on somebody else's leftovers or a brand new spot or whatever.
Right.
But we could just get the feeling right off the rip. Our pilot that picked us up hadn't flown in there, but maybe once before.
Yeah, he didn't talk like he'd landed on it a whole lot, which was kind of cool.
We flew it 2 or 3 times before he finally picked a spot. And he's like, all right, so we're diving in on this spot.
When we were coming in to check it, he would tip the wing way left. So you're like looking out the side of the plane, and then he'd go around and he'd tip it way right.
Is he just looking when he does
We're looking, yeah. So
you could tell
he really
looking.
can't legally communicate with us and say, there's a 60, there's a 55. But he can tip the plane and let you look for yourself. So when he starts tipping that thing, you know to look out the window. You're looking down, and we were seeing paddles.
Yep.
Like, there's one, there's
Big
one,
bull,
there's
big
one,
bull.
there's one.
We're kids at Disneyland going, Mickey, you know, I mean,
Mickey, look at that fucking Mickey right there.
Yeah.
So he's just doing that to get the wing out of the way so you can see.
Yeah, he's just tipping it down so you can look.
Sketchy. I
It
like
was
it.
So
fucking
we're
awesome.
flying in, and we can see all these bulls laying all around.
And he's kind of stressing.
circled. He's like, man, I don't know how I'm going to get in here.
He's like, how am I going to drop you guys in the middle of all these bulls? He was worried about, there's so many bulls he's worried about because we're landing right in the middle of them.
And he's like, all right, so the third
Jump,
circle,
guys, jump.
so like
parachutes.
so like the second or third circle, he comes pulling around, and he just starts diving in. And he's like, we're going to go in stealth mode. And he just pulled
Grabs
the
the
throttle
controls.
all the way back.
Whoa.
And we damn near just killed the plane. It was like, pup, 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 pup.
The cam just jack,
And you can,
jack.
you can see from the back seat, the nose of the plane just goes,
And you can feel
you're
it in your
looking
belly.
you're looking straight down, and here's the body of water, and the body of water, we're coming in hot, right?
Yeah,
we're coming in 80 miles an hour, and we're dropping, and the body of water curves and goes around a beaver dam. So we come in, and he sets it down perfect. The ass end touches, then the front touches, and we go right around the beaver dam, dude. There's like 10, 15 foot off the side of the plane around the beaver dam, and rolls it right up on the bank.
That's a bad motherfucker right there, dude.
Like, for me, that was one of the highlights of the trip.
Absolutely.
That landing was fucking badass.
Because he wasn't sure about it to begin with, and then he just perfectly executed it.
Yeah,
and we roll
that's
up,
some cool
and
shit.
he's like, "You guys stay in the plane. I got to go up here and check this spot, make sure it's good for your campsite, and do not get out of the plane." So he jumped out and ran up there, and he walked up and pointed down and gave us a thumbs up, like, "All right, this is it."
I think we were speaking in sign language at that time because we knew there were just bulls all around.
Right. Yeah.
So
you guys are throwing gang signs at each other and knew what was up.
Right.
I like it. Yeah.
So he's like, just be careful, be quiet, just unload this plane, get it all set on the beach, and then I'm getting the fuck out of here. It's I got to get out of here.
You're in the bedding area.
Yeah. I mean, they were just bedded like right there. We could see.
If you're a public land guy in the Midwest, there's just milkweed everywhere right now.
So
Judd McCollum's just making hate videos in group forums on Facebook. You guys see that video, by the way?
I missed it.
Oh, you didn't get my joke then. I'll show you after. You got to watch Judd's milkweed video.
I saw it, but I couldn't hear the video, hear the audio.
It's gold. It's hilarious. So, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Back to the story.
So we end up getting launched right there. We unload all of our stuff, get up there and so I went down and blew up the boat. Austin and Cody set up the tent, and we can't hunt the day that we fly. So we know they're close.
We're gassed again, right? So we hadn't slept from the night before because we got Cody's bull out, cooked moose hard at 2 a.m. Like fucking tired again after breaking camp.
Yep.
And
tired again, but excited, right? Like,
optimistic for sure after seeing what we saw on the flight in.
Yeah.
Half-ass pissy. I mean, Cody didn't get the news that we were going to move to a new spot until after he just shot his bull.
I can get that vibe a little.
I don't think we were.
I think
you weren't pissed, and I was kind of frustrated that we hadn't got the call 2 hours earlier, but it was what it was at that point.
No, at that point I wasn't frustrated.
Yeah, you probably had a feel of like accomplishment, relief. You're happy. You're probably excited for Ross that he's getting like this fresh vibe, which
that's the best. I guess that's the best thing at that point that you could do was be happy for the guy that still has a tag in his pocket. But I should have been called off because I already drew blood. To be honest, I mean, I felt terrible about that bull.
Guilty or something like that?
Yeah, guilty. Like I just stuck a bull. Like I should be staying on that bull, but they're so damn tough. They didn't.
It's a flesh wound.
I had no reason to believe that bull was hurt or dead or anything, and then we confirmed it with a plane flying over. But but still, I mean, to get moved to a new spot after we had all those struggles. I mean, at that point, it was a big deal. I mean, I felt bad. I felt bad for Cody because we were. I mean, I'm not going to put it lightly. I mean, we were trying to kill whatever was available at that point. And we did see the big one, and right before Cody ended up shooting, but the bottom line is we hadn't seen a bull that big up until that point, so we kind of just played it out. But ended up getting moved to a new spot, and we ended up landing, got set on the beach. They set the tent. I blew up the boat, and then we can't hunt the rest of the day. Guess what walks out? I can hear him sitting out there just racking his horns against the trees, grunting, groaning, and shit, he must have been like a 45 to 50 inch bull. I mean, he was beautiful, big paddles.
Good footage of him.
Huge, yeah, good footage.
Can I find that on here?
That's it right there.
Yep.
Oh, this is the bull.
If you click ahead, you'll see there's a video of him too.
So
I'm just taking
obviously
pictures.
we can't legally shoot this bull. It's the same day we flew in, so we just had to watch this bull stroll by probably 70 yards.
Yeah, 60, 70 yards.
We're sitting out of the tent watching this bull just 70 yards from us. But that you could, I mean, as soon as we landed and things cooled off within an hour or two, you could hear,
no shit,
and raking and cows, and we were seeing cows and calves. I mean, there were just moose everywhere.
And we got in our tent, and all of a sudden it was just like in the evening when the sun was going down. Almost.
No, this is the takeoff. This is the takeoff of the plane.
Yeah, back up. Anyways, we're sitting there just chilling out at 3:00 in the afternoon. This big old boy walks by. I'm like, oh, I could just shoot him right now. This would be easy. Guys,
is this cell phone footage, Ross, you have of them, or GoPro?
Yeah, it's cell phone.
All right, I'm trying to find it.
You were close on those pics. It would have been right after or towards the end. But he's sitting there just, I mean, hot to trot, full rut, ready to rock, and walking through, and then he ends up swimming across the water, which was awesome.
It was awesome.
He ended up shaking off like a dog, which is super cool. Just water shaking everywhere.
I'm trying to find the
We were just getting a different vibe from this second camp low.
Yeah.
Like the bulls, when they were like in the rut, I'm saying these bulls were in the rut, you could hear a difference in the grunt. Like it was a longer grunt, and it had a kind of a quavering tone to it. Yeah.
If it's not that one, it's the next one right after it. Nope, it's the one after it.
This is it, isn't it?
It's the one after
See the
it.
mountains in the background? Must have taken two.
That's the one right there. Watch him walk out of that water and shake off. It's crazy. Look at that big old bastard. I'm telling you, it was killing me not to put an arrow in that thing. I mean, he's right next to camp. We're literally sitting on chairs right in front of our tent.
How far is he right here in the
Oh, he's 60, 70. Like, just begging for it. Watch this, right behind the tree. Like a dog, just...
Whoa.
Yeah.
1,500-pound dog.
And then he just marches off. I mean, he was cock locking, ready to rock the whole time.
Damn.
Just a big old boy that's full rut, just marching around, letting everybody know who's boss. So
it's a horrifying animal if you think about it.
So anyways, we get there. I mean, that was the end of day 1 flying into the new spot.
What was that, day 7?
Would have been day 7.
Yeah. Yep. So we flew my meat out and flew the new spot on 7. Yep.
So by this point, we're all... Alaska wears you down, right? You've been in the bush we're saying that's day 7, but it's actually day 8 because we were in a day before we hunted. So we've been in the bush for 8 days at this point.
Yeah. And gotten lost.
Yep. I mean, we're just getting mentally wore down. You know, we're family guys. We got families at home. And we kind of had the conversation like, if any decent, respectable bull steps out at this point, it's probably game on with a rifle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't going to... I guarantee you at that point, like everybody's wanting to go home. I'm exhausted too. Like if anybody steps out, like that bull that just walked through that we just talked about, I could have poked him with a bow and felt really good about it. But after that, I'm like, if that bull shows up tomorrow, legally we couldn't shoot him, so we didn't. But if that bull shows up tomorrow, I really, really want to shoot that bull. Like that's a stud.
Yeah, let's get that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll crack him with a rifle. I don't give a shit. I said that on the planning the trip podcast. Yeah. So I have no problem shooting a bull with a bow or a rifle, and I'm gonna stick with it. So,
yeah, don't have too much pride. You know what I mean? Like,
well, at this point, we're exhausted. Day number 8's a lot different than day number 1 too.
For sure. Yeah. It's a lot of days to be.
And you got 2 guys kind of waiting on you. You know, like everybody's ready to go home.
And these guys, I'll say, these guys have been. I mean, they would have been there if I said let's hunt 3 more days, which we had.
Right.
We had the option to hunt 3 more days, but we just got moved to a new spot. We heard a bunch of bulls. It was like, man, these things are hot. Like we got to make a move and get one killed. Let's go home. And Austin and Cody were both like, you know what, man, we're pretty fucking tough, but it's time to go home.
Right. Like, we were all ready. We weren't trying to hurry the hunt by any means, but we'd all had the conversation that, you know, it's about time to go home.
At this point in the hunt, it was time to shoot a rifle.
Yep.
And I was ready to do it. Mm-hmm. So anyways, so we ended up going to bed that night. And we got some good sleep. I think we went to bed early. We ate some good food.
Can I ask a question about camp vibe? At this point, are you guys bullshitting until you guys fall asleep, you know? Or is it like, all right, night?
It's getting a little drier.
A little more dry?
It's getting drier, but every encounter changes everything, too. I mean, our night talk changed by the encounter. So our night talk ahead of this, before getting moved to this point, dried up pretty quick. I mean, it was like night by. Like, I'm done.
Yeah, I get that.
But then we got to this new spot, and it fired Austin and Cody up big time. They're like, holy shit, it's like Jurassic Park out there right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were laying in bed at dark, and you could hear bulls raking and grunting and cows calling. I mean,
really?
it was like nonstop. We couldn't go to sleep, and fucking beavers slapping their tails on the water, keeping us up all night till midnight. But yeah, there was a lot of action going on right out of the rip, which there was the first night that we got in.
The first couple nights in our first camp was hot too, but this camp was just, we could see the caliber of bulls when we were flying in. We just knew we were landing in a hot area on the second one.
It was a lot different.
If we would have all had a full 8 or 9 day hunt in that second spot, we'd have walked out with some dandies.
All 3 of us.
Well, I don't get why they didn't put you there initially.
Well, that would have been nice, but for whatever reason, they didn't.
Yep. And I said... So we went to this number, this KVAC number. No, we're not doing that again. And then we went to the second. We're going where I would, if I come back, like that's the one. Yeah. All 3 of us want to be in that one right there. Mm-hmm. It was obviously hot.
I think they probably do a pretty good job of trying to. I think there were some big bulls where we were the first place.
Oh, I know there was at least one.
I really do. I think the hunting pressure, which is a little bit out of their control, they weren't planning on. We found actually several kill sites on KVAC 11. So obviously there had been bulls killed there in the past.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think they were probably both good areas. The second one was definitely, the activity was.
Yep.
There wasn't near the pressure.
It just seemed like they were in a hotter rut at that point. I mean, it seemed like
a couple of days can change.
Well, hunting pressure was everything.
That's the thing, man. I mean, it was hunting pressure. I mean, they were there when we got there, and we didn't pressure them. I'll guarantee you, we didn't pressure them, and they just stopped showing up.
Yeah,
with all the guns going off around us, like it shut everything down.
Yeah,
and. It's you know what, Papa Bear does a really, really good job, and they're not scared to move hunters from
I think that's impressive.
Or whatever.
You look at the pile of antlers that we run into when we showed up there. I mean, the quality of animals that they're putting guys on is pretty impressive.
No, and they definitely stepped up. I mean, there's quite a bit of expense. Like I said, we talked about $450 an hour. You're talking $1,000 to move us,
right? So, yeah.
I don't have any problems with the service at all. Like I said, I think Papa Bear did us a good job.
Yeah.
Like I said,
bad circumstances with the natives and things.
I will say this: if Papa Bear listens, moose hunt's always been on my radar. Now that you guys have done this, it's more on my radar. Like next 5 years.
I think this will turn a lot of people on to wanting to go up and do a moose hunt.
And I think I would go. Like if you guys are like, hey, you guys want to go? And I want to go in 3 years.
So don't get us wrong here. I mean, we're kind of talking about how rough the first place was, but the bottom line is, I think they did a really good job, and they took care of us, and they're really, really good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with these guys. Well, what I was getting at,
if I was like, hey, I got to kill a moose, like with my bow, I want to, and I'm like, hey, let's go, and I want to go in 2024, 2025. And you guys are like, hey, let's go back to Papa Bear. I'd be like, okay, let's go.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I'd hesitate over that.
No, I wouldn't either.
What was impressive to me was to look at, they never gave me a success rate, but when you look at the number of hunters they run through, what'd they run, 50 or 60?
58. Yeah, 58, I think is what
58
a year? This year.
Just this year. And how many did not kill? 2, 3?
2 or 3.
2, and I think they all had opportunity.
No shit.
From what they told us.
This is a do-it-yourself moose hunt, okay? That's pretty impressive when you look at those statistics. They're putting you in the mix with moose, pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good odds right there.
Yep.
In GMA 18, where we hunted, is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all types of hunting area. You get towards the mountains and stuff, you do worry more about bears and stuff. Where we were out on the tundra, like I said, there was a lot of days I didn't even carry a sidearm. So
we did leave those back at camp.
I think it changes quite a bit depending on where you're at. But I would go back to Papa Bear.
Yeah,
for sure. Like it's definitely a well-run organization. I mean, they have it pretty.
Oh, the lodge is
pretty planned
badass. Out. It's nice to have somebody like Tine back at the lodge where we killed out early, 3 days earlier than what we were expecting. So we let them know they're going to come in and get us out of the bush early. Tawny's back in the lodge, and she calls and rearranges all of our flights for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have to
everything.
We don't have to mess with any of that. When we come back, we're flying out the next day, and we didn't have to lift a finger. So
like
that
out of Bethel.
Yeah,
out of Bethel. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. So that's little things like that.
I was wondering about
nice.
that. I was talking to Sam about it, and she's like, I wonder how their flights work. Like, they're probably stuck up there until their flight.
No, they changed. She changed it.
She does that for all the clients. And typically, people tag out early up there, so she's well-versed in that whole process.
Very cool. That's good to know. That's awesome.
Yep.
So, Ross, continue where we're at, I guess. The ball's in your court still.
Where we leave off.
New spot.
It's frosty.
So we woke up the next morning, and Jiminy Christmas. What? I mean,
next morning is in like the
next morning after we flew into the new spot.
Day number 8.
First day of hunting at the new spot.
Yep. Day 8. So day 7 we didn't get to hunt, but a lot of flying, packing, all that, and then set up. But day 8 we wake up and it's cold. It's raining. It's windy, and it continues to rain all damn day.
Not a heavy rain, but just damp
misting.
and cold. The coldest day we had in camp thus far.
It was upper 20s when we got up.
Yeah,
hard
frost.
My pack was outside and it was completely frosted over.
Yep,
crispy on the outside.
Thank God for good sleeping systems.
No shit. And no shit. We were sleeping with our sat phone.
I put the batteries in my pocket.
All of our battery packs
just to keep them warm.
Cell phones, everything stayed in the sleeping bag.
Any gear that I was going to wear that next day was in the pack with me. Throw a couple
hot
foot warmers in my socks or in the foot of my sleeping bag, and I get cold easy, so my feet had a hard time warming up there. So I would put feet warmers in my socks, and then about 3 hours later, I'd wake up and my feet were literally getting scorched. So I'd have to pull them out of my socks and throw them out of the bag, but. I stayed warm up there other than my feet when I was first falling asleep.
You got to get fat, dude, like the rest of us.
I'm trying.
Drink more beer. It's a problem. There you go.
There he goes.
You just drink nothing but old fashions, dude.
I got that one.
You got to drink. First guy who spilled beer in the studio, the Lord
slammed down a little too hard there.
Incredible. Someone get this guy a napkin.
Glad it was on video.
Did it spill bad? Are you good?
Yeah,
I got most of it on me.
Okay. Wait, Jamie, can you get us a napkin? Get a bib while you're out there.
So we ended up getting up, and it was colder than hell. We got out of our little tent, climbed out our little rain sleeve, whatever it was, on the front of that tent, and
vestibule.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways, we got out of there and started the day just trying to figure out which way we were going.
Yeah. How are you feeling mindset wise right now?
Not good.
Not good.
I mean, we were good, but because we just come off of the night before, hearing moose raking antlers and going like hell. But
right.
No, that morning it woke up. We woke up real quiet. There wasn't anything going on.
It was dead.
I mean, we sat there at the tent. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we were pumped going to bed. I mean, it was, I think Austin said it earlier, it was Jurassic Park when we went to bed. I mean, there was raking on 3 sides of us. We heard some of the best actual cow calls that we'd heard. We heard all kinds of grunting. It was really exciting. Mm-hmm. Wake up, it's frosted cold, and it is dead.
You would think it'd be the hottest morning that we'd had, and we didn't hear a grunt,
especially after how cold it was. I mean,
did the rain seem to affect their calling or like activity or
moose live in the rain?
Yeah. Well, I know, but I just didn't know if like you guys, you know what I mean? Like you guys, I feel like you guys noted like we woke up, it was raining. You know,
from what we saw, honestly, the shittier the weather, the better that they called and
they
raked.
Did not that day.
Yeah, they didn't that day.
No.
So you went from 6 to midnight back down to 6.
Yeah, getting soft again.
Yeah.
So
right, well, you said it. So
we sat there. We sat there from daylight until we made a little breakfast at 10. We ate a snack or two ahead of time, but made a little breakfast. Sat there until Cody took off at 2 o'clock, 1:30.
Yeah, I went and sat till 4:30 on that point, kind of washed up. Yeah.
So he ended up taking off and going clear out to a different point, looking over this slough that kind of split off, kind of wide off. And he's like, man, I'm telling you, this is a good spot. So I'm going to go watch this for a little while. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to sit here right here and I'm going to watch for a little while and we'll see what happens. I mean, surely we're going to see somebody come out.
Yeah.
So the two of us sat there and just stared everything down, waiting on somebody to move. And the moose you could hear the bulls out there just raking and starting to make some noise later in the afternoon. He said he was out there till 4:30. It was something like that he come back and when he come back to camp, we sat down next to each other and I'm like, I've been sitting here stewing about it for way too long and I got to go. Like I'm going out there. I'm gonna that bull that's grunting and raking, like I'm going after him right now.
Mm-hmm. Make it happen type of situation.
Got to make it happen. They're obviously not responding to calls. I mean, we raked and we did it right there at that new camp too.
Like at camp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Just running the paddle up and down.
I don't blame you for how big they are. If you can get one 50 yards from camp and crack
I mean,
them,
I was pumped about let's call one in out in this open.
And I'll be honest, like earlier when I mentioned, like I thought it'd be this big canvas type tent. That's what I was expecting, like a fucking base camp. You know what I mean? Like where moose kind of know the camp is there and they're all 500, minimum.
The way we set this camp up, like they didn't have a clue we were there. Obviously that moose the night before.
That's not what I had in my mind thinking about you guys in camp.
So the outfitters are from Michigan. So when the Illinois boys rolled into town, they're like, treat this as your tree stand. And we took that to heart.
That's an interesting way to word that. Yeah,
we tucked our camp in super tight, so
because they knew the Illinois guys automatically know more about killing deer than the Michigan guys. And then,
right.
I'm kidding, Michigan, settle down.
So they spoke to us in terminology that we would
love
understand.
Michigan.
So we tucked it in super tight. We never started a fire. We were quiet. We tried not to bang the pots and pans around. I mean, we treated it like we were going to kill a moose out of our camp.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's going to put the odds in your favor.
It was a hanging camp.
What's that?
It was a hanging camp. I don't want to say banging camp because I don't know what happened, but not a hang and bang.
Don't ask, don't tell.
What happens in Alaska stays in Alaska.
So we didn't do that, but we did.
Ross stayed straight the entire time. Strong will you got there, Ross. Strong will.
He's blushing.
He's blushing. Fuck. All right. So anyways.
Ross is getting pissed.
I was having a good time.
Back to the story.
I thought we were having a good time.
So anyways, we were chilling out, and where the fuck am I at right now?
I got him all flustered.
No, Ross was just saying, we're kind of mid-afternoon, we'd been in the previous spot about 6:30 was pretty hot for us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's getting 5 o'clock or so.
Yep.
And we were kind of talking about a game plan for tomorrow. Actually, we're talking the next day, and we're
looking past that afternoon.
Yeah, we're about over it.
We're gonna have to get aggressive.
Yeah.
And I don't know how well you know Ross, but anybody that knows him, I mean, he's
aggressive.
Get in there and get it done. And next thing I know, we talked and we're like, well, we're gonna have to get aggressive tomorrow and go in. We start hearing him raking, we're gonna have to go in after him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't half hour later. Ross was like, "You guys stay here. I'm going."
Yeah.
And
so I got a little pissy, and I stood up,
stealthy slither, and kind of worked down there. And
so I stood up and I started strapping on all my stuff. I'm like, "All right, you guys are staying right here. When you hear a gunshot, come looking for me."
No shit.
And
I love it, dude. I love it.
I said, dudes, I'm out. So I don't know. I ended up putting all my stuff on. I don't know if anybody's seen A Bug's Life, but I love that movie. Watching it with the kids. So when Flick's in the beginning and he's just like rolling out, flying off the stupid fucking leaf, and he's like, "So long and farewell," and he ends up slamming into a rock. So I left camp. This is stupid, but
it's kind of funny.
It makes me laugh. So I end up walking out of camp. I'm like, "See you guys," like a badass, like, "See you later.
I'm out."
Rolled down the hill, had like a 2.5 foot jump to make across this little creek. No shit. It was like 3 foot deep. I put my waders on, thank God, and I went to jump across this thing. I had all this weight on my shoulder with a gun and all my pack and everything else. I went to hop and I was like, "Oh shit," I'm way up short and just right in the water. So I felt like Flick slamming into that
Did you guys
rock.
hear it?
Yeah, it was like 10 yards from camp.
They got to hear it plain as day.
That's awesome.
I'm like, "Fuck me.
Son of a bitch."
We're watching him go into the great abyss of Alaska, and he gets about 4 steps in.
Oh, you guys were like watching it.
Oh yeah, dude, it was literally right next to camp. Like,
that's fucking great.
I'm like, "See you fucking later." So anyways,
great start.
Pulled my composure together, and I got up and I started walking, and I was going real nice and easy.
Did you say anything when you got up?
I gave him the wave.
Ross got up. Fuck you guys. Continued on his way.
No, I didn't even turn around because I knew it was going to happen.
You didn't say a word?
Nope.
That's even better.
I just acted like everything was fine. Nothing happened. So I ended up marching my way up. Like I could hear this bull raking from a long ways off. I'm like,
bull still raking?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's still grunting, raking. Like, and it's crazy. Like Austin said earlier. I mean, these bulls just changed their tune from one place to another. I mean, we went to camp number 2, and they went from just whoa, whoa, whatever. Austin does it way better.
Both pretty good.
But they went from that to just
more of
a
desperate,
just gurgling the whole time. Anyways,
high school kids.
Yeah. Anyways, they so I end up walking up, and I'm thinking I'm getting closer. I'm about 300 yards from where I want to be, and this cow and 2 small little calves come out, and I waited for quite a while trying to get them out of there. They finally moved on, so I'm like, all right, I'm good. Well, we had seen nothing but cows and calves. I mean, there was moose everywhere, but we ended up moving up there. I ended up moving up there, and there was another cow and another calf, and the calf ended up coming up like 10 feet from me.
Ooh.
And I just knelt down on the grass like, holy shit.
About to get stomped out,
I just sat there for a minute, and
we're
I thought,
watching
you know
it
what?
from camp.
Oh, you can see it.
Yeah.
So I could just tell, like, this is a bad situation. I mean, I know what a cow coming out of the pasture is like, and when there's a wild ass cow moose with a calf, I'm like, oh boy, this is gonna be bad. So I stood up with this calf like 10 feet from me. I'm like, hey there, and he just takes off running. I'm like, oh, thank God. And the mama moose, the cow, she ended up taking off. And I'm like, oh, good. She's gone. Well, she wasn't. So I ended up walking up there a little bit farther, just creeping my way in. I had these Sims waders on, which they're loud. They're like swish pants. I mean, you're kind of swishing as you walk. Mm-hmm. And I get up there about where I want to be, and she pokes her head around a tree and looks right at me. I'm like,
how far?
30 yards.
Oh, shit. Danger zone.
She's right there. I'm like, oh. So I just sat there and waited for a minute, didn't move, and she ends up taking off running. I'm like, damn it. Like right into where this big bull was just groaning and moaning like crazy. But ends up running off. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm here. I'm just going to go ahead and move on in and get in my spot, and hopefully everything will work out. Because there was like 3 bulls grunting at that point. So I'm like, all right, if I blew that one out, fine.
We got options.
I don't know what he looks like, but I got options. So end up going in there, finding, I walked past a scrape. So a deer scrape, everybody knows what a deer scrape looks like. There's an overhanging branch, nice little paw in the dirt. Well, I come walking up on a moose scrape, and I've never seen anything like it. But there's this hole in the ground, like 1.5 feet in the ground, a foot anyway. And I mean, digging and pissing in it, and it stunk so damn bad. And these guys got to see it after the shot.
Yeah, it's kind of like a salt lick, but just
piss.
A natural, just a natural piss hole.
Yep.
So I rolled on past that, and I ended up going in and finding a little cluster of 5-inch trees. I don't know what they were, but it was a nice little spot. And I sat up on that, and I told Austin before I left I was going to message those guys and let them know what I was doing. And I got up there and I said, in my spot now, probably 150 yards out.
We're getting a play-by-play. Cody and I we're cold at this point, so we're huddled up in the tent.
Oh, you guys are in the tent.
We're in our sleeping bags, warming our feet up. I mean, it's freaking cold. We stayed out in the wind all day that day. We were froze to the bone. Yeah. And
did the tent have a cozy feel?
It was warm in there.
It was.
In your sleeping bag.
Breaking the wind is everything up there.
For sure.
Yeah, just getting out of the wind and the damp air. Yeah. It's amazing how much warmer the tent felt.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're in there just kind of chilling, relaxing, and I got my phone out, and we're kind of going play-by-play with Ross. I said, did you bust a cow? Because we could see it from camp. He's like, yes, I busted a fucking cow.
Yeah. So I'm
so
in
you
this
guys saw that from inside the tent?
I could see him bust the cow.
How were you guys looking?
Before he got
I was outside the tent. He busted the cow. I'm like, all right, show's over. So we went back in the tent.
Oh, I got you.
Fuck Ross. He's done.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah.
We're counting him out already.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, well, so I'm sitting in this cluster of trees where I can see this big open field. And I'm like, well, there's trails going back and forth. I just literally walked past this scrape. This is going to be hot. Like I've got a 300 Win Mag in my hand, and I'm 30 yards from the scrape. But there's like 15 trails coming to that scrape.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the perfect bow spot ever. But I got a fucking gun in my hand. So I'm
like
sitting
he said,
there.
it's day 8 or whatever. It's like it's time to crack one.
Time to do it.
So I'm sitting there and I'm waiting and messaging Austin back and forth, and he's like, "So you busted a cow?" Did you bust a cow? ? I said yes. Period. I fucking busted a cow. Like
period.
I was hot.
Exclamation point. Yeah,
I was pissed. So I let it go. I'm like, I'm messaging him back and forth, and it takes. I mean, Zolio's good. But you still have
a couple minutes.
You still have like 2 or 3 minutes between messages. So I'm sitting there waiting on one, on a message to come in, and I look up, I hear a noise, and it's this bull groaning and moaning he was in the mood.
He was wanted.
So he's running this cow across this field. Like
a cornfield?
No, yeah, I wish.
It was kind of like a clearing.
It was a clearing.
A meadow.
So he's running through this meadow, chasing this cow, and they're humongous. You got to keep that in mind. Like these things are so huge. It's not like a deer. I mean, when you witness one run out of the timber, when he walks out of the timber, I mean, he's like 10 foot tall. When he runs out of the timber chasing the cow, it's like, holy shit, I'm watching dinosaurs roam the earth.
It's like a bulldozer.
Yeah. So I see this monster, I mean a mega, huge, running this cow across this field. I'm like, oh shit. So I threw my Zoleo down, my phone down, and I took off running as fast as I could. I had the wind in my face, and I thought, it doesn't matter. I'm going to get up there as close as I can because he's obviously occupied. So I'm going to get up there and just do the best I can and wait for him to come out, hopefully in 10 minutes, and get him shot. So Mega is rolling across there, run up there, made it 100 yards, 120 yards, jumping. That's like moguls on a ski resort, only covered in moss and dirt, and it's just like running through an egg carton the whole way. So I got up there, sat and waited. 10 minutes goes by. I can hear him down there just grunting and groaning and moaning and making all kinds of noise. And she ends up coming out. She didn't come out. The one I ended up shooting come out, and he was on the same trail, rolling right past me, 80 yards past me, 90 yards past me. I'm like, holy shit. So I ran up a little bit farther, ended up grabbing my shooting sticks, like I'm going to shoot this thing, planted them, and tried to get the shot off. And couldn't. And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I stood straight up, flat-footed, and just shouldered the rifle and let her rip.
No shit, just let her have it.
Dropped him right in his tracks and went running up there. I had to make, run 90 yards through moguls, it felt like.
Yeah.
But I went running up there, and I had the idea that I was going to finish him off with my knife, but he he had his horns kind of moving around quite a lot. I mean, a lot
aggressively,
more than I wanted to.
Vigorously.
So I was like, better not. So I ended up pumping another one in him. And
how far was the second shot?
10 yards.
Oh, fuck. Right in there.
Like right there. So I walked away from that shot, and my ears were bleeding. But that 300 Win Mag punches really hard.
Yeah. Oh, so, yeah.
Yeah.
So run me through mindset right now.
I am ecstatic. I'm losing my mind. Holy shit. I pulled it off. I thought I was going to go home empty handed, and just had my opportunity, and I took it, and holy smokes.
Yeah.
Like he's down.
Yeah.
He's right there.
That's awesome, dude.
Oh, well, this was about 500 yards from camp, probably.
So yeah, okay, yeah. This is where I ask questions to you guys, and I'll just shut up and let you take it.
Well, we were laying there in the tent, and I'm kind of going play by play. And the last text I got from Ross was, "I'm as close as I can get. He is right here." I'm like, okay, he's in the mix with
So you
him.
guys are doing that. You guys are just listening.
We're just kind of bullshitting, waiting, and pretty soon, kerwhammy. And I look over at Cody. I'm like, we're going home. And it was about, I'm like, after a little bit, I'm like, man, that's not good. I didn't hear a follow-up shot. And then kerwhammy goes the second one. I'm like, okay, now we're going home.
Now we're going home.
How much time between the two shots, roughly?
I don't know, a couple minutes.
Yeah.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so quick. Yeah, you ran fast.
Well, I mean, not fast enough, evidently. I mean, it was fucking 3 minutes, not 2. But I got
wait a minute, we're going home.
So Cody and I are putting on packs and gear and getting all of our kill kits ready, and we're it didn't take us long, probably 15 minutes to get down to you.
Yeah, I saw you guys coming there for a little while. You said, should we bring the boat? I said, or walk. I said, doesn't matter either way.
Yeah.
You said, is he big? I said, big enough.
Yeah.
At that point, like I did step up there and I gave him a second shot, but it blew my ears out. So I literally just walked away. So I really didn't give him any look.
What'd you do? Just sit down and kind of take in the moment?
Nope. I walked away from it, went back straight to my pack. And once I got back to my pack, then I kind of started sucking it all in.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Kind of go back and just kind of regroup.
Yeah, get back to the pack.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave you guys in an awkward situation. I'm going to go potty. And I'm going to let you guys just talk amongst yourselves because I don't want to stop the podcast, but I also want to see more focus on the story than I am on how bad I have to pee.
That sounds real good.
We'll take it from here.
I'm honest.
So it didn't take us long. We walked up the edge of the bank, and Ross was already walking out to meet us. High-fived, gave the congratulations. We were all elated because we knew it was time to go home.
The adrenaline was so high. I mean, just the excitement. We
knew he killed. From the miserable day.
Yeah,
of just sitting around hoping on something to show up, and then finally pulling it off. Once that all happened, it was like, holy smokes.
Yep.
We got work to do, obviously, but we got work to do.
Welcome
and we'll get
for
out
as
of here.
cold as we were. We were looking for some work, so that was nice to get our hands bloody and get warm again.
Yep.
But yeah,
no, it was a hell of a push to get all the way through everything. I mean, we experienced a lot on this trip, and I wouldn't say that I would never do it again. I mean, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
No, we sit here sounding like we were miserable at some points, which there is a little bit of misery that goes along with it. That's just honesty. But if you asked me if I'd go back tomorrow, I'd be on the plane.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's hard to explain. We were so excited for everybody to kill and to just to get it done. You know, the excitement on Ross's kill was every bit as much as the first kill.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So we were excited to get it done. Like I said, we got it processed quicker. Everybody knew their job by that point. We got it packed out. We were all pretty excited. You know, you go into a trip like this wondering if everybody's kind of do what they should do. And
yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I think we were fighting over who was going to carry out the rear quarters, you know, the heavest part.
Yep.
So
Everybody wanted to do it.
Everybody's like, I got it.
Yeah.
I'll carry both rib cages. You know, it wasn't an issue. We were all so excited at that point. We were excited to go home, but like I said, I can only speak for myself, but like I said, I'd be on a plane tomorrow if you said you want to go back. So.
Yeah.
That's the thing, man. I mean, we went in there with the mental thought that no matter what, we'd pull more than we normally would.
Yeah.
Our own weight. So
I can only imagine, dude. You kind of have to in that situation,
and that's the deal, man. If you don't, I mean, it's just if you have to, and you realize when you're in the moment, like you have to do more than you're willing to do normally.
Yeah.
You just get after it.
I think bottom line, when you plan a trip like this, like you just need to know you want to be with killers.
Yep.
And I mean, that sounds vague to someone who might not understand really what that means, but it's like dudes who want to be successful and get things done, even though it sucks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry about my pee break. I just had to be honest because I want to be tentative on the situation. You go back to your pack and everything kind of, then you start taking in the moment, and you guys are in camp. You heard the crack. You heard crack two, or kawami, or however you explained it.
And Austin messaged and said, boat or walk. And I said, don't care either way. Bring the boat. Yeah. And I turned around and messaged right back. I'm like, actually, just walk.
Yeah.
It ain't that big a deal. So they end up walking up, and it was awesome.
Walking up to you first, right?
Yep.
I'm assuming.
Yep. I walked back out all the way back to the water where these guys saw me blow the damn cow moose out, and which worked out really good because
did you guys fall in the same little creek that he fell in on the way out there?
We knew that creek was there.
They didn't
by the
fall
time
in.
He had already marked it. Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Well,
I
look at
love
that.
it, Russ.
But I think the cool outside of that really cool thing, I think another cool thing is that
just so you know, if that would have been me, I would have fell and somehow magically airdrop footage to Buckstorm would have got sent right to him. They would have made a video of me falling in a fucking creek again. So you're lucky.
But I think the really cool thing is I thought I blew the hunt on that big old bull that was in there.
Yeah.
And come to find out there was two of them in there, and the cow that I scared ran right to them, and they were all jacked up, and
There's
the
like-
big boy ended up chasing her across the
They're
field.
like, look at this.
That's the thing with moose. Like the more noise you make going to them, honestly, the better off you are.
Yeah.
'Cause I think there's another bull coming to them.
I kind of get that a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say we educated ourselves quite a bit. There's some things we do different. I mean,
all I'm saying is, if I
be
go
more
more something,
aggressive.
I want one of you boys to be there with me because you've been through it, you know.
you know,
I think you can be a lot more aggressive than we were.
Well, that's what Cody was saying pre-podcast, was it? Yeah, when we were in the green room at the bar.
What we were, and I was probably the leader of this, but I was kind of leery of a long pack. So I didn't want to go a mile back in on day 2 and have to pack all that shit out when it could just as easily be done from camp. And from the books I read and the research that I'd done, guys said that your chances of killing from camp or close to camp are really high if you're just patient. So
That makes a lot of sense.
We played that hand, but I think if you were aggressive and you're willing to do some work and pack out a little further than we were, we probably could have killed faster.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, That's cool. All right, so let's go back. You guys get up to Ross. Ross is taking in the moment. You guys don't fall in the little creek thing, and then you get up to Ross.
So we're walking in.
I'm weird. Maybe I'm not weird. I want to know the detail of like the meetup.
We're elated. We can't get there quick enough. I mean, we throw our packs on. We're probably walking 3 times the pace we've walked most days.
Pushing through for excitement.
And like I said, it's not easy terrain, but I mean, you're just.
Yeah.
Well, when that shot rang out, we knew that was up pretty much the end of the hunt. You know, we've got one more breakdown, and by tomorrow they're going to be flying in to get this meat, and we're going to be breaking camp and probably rolling home. So we knew that the hunt was coming to a close, and we were ready for it by that point. But it was a very high point of the hunt.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, that's you guys have been through a little more suffering at this point, so it seemed a little sweeter, I imagine.
Ross's kill was probably as sweet as any of them, just for the simple fact we got back that night as early as we'd gotten back. We cooked some chunks of backstrap and just enjoyed Alaska.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is very, very humbling when you're up there. We took a couple pictures of the first day we had basically the sun out from camp and the first camp we were in. And it is very peaceful, very humbling when you're there.
Yeah. I like it, man. You guys are doing a great job, like running through the story. And thanks for answering all my questions while you're doing. But okay, so you guys get together, and then what?
So we're high-fiving, and everybody gives hugs, and
because you hadn't touched this moose.
Nope. I walked away from him. I didn't put any hands on him. Nothing. Just finished him off, and then rolled back to my backpack, and ended up roll back. I'm sitting there chilling out. High-five these guys. We start rolling in, and it was
How far are you from the moose?
We were, 200 yards.
Okay.
150.
Close.
200 yards, something like that.
Yeah.
So we ended up walking in, and I said, follow me in because I want to show you the scrape. I want to show you where I was at.
Oh, I got you.
And kind of like told the story as I went in. Like, I was right here.
I like that, man.
Running.
I like hearing that, yeah.
And follow me over here, guys. I mean, I want to show you where he's dead. And we ended up walking up there. I was still at that point. My adrenaline starting to kick in hard. Like I was pumped, and we ended up walking up on him and grabbed his head, picked him up, and rolled him over, and we got some really nice pictures, just jacking around. But honestly, it's when you're out there and you can take the moment in for a second, but you know how much work's ahead of you.
Yeah.
So we just grabbed knives and started in. I mean, it was you take some pictures and then go.
Yeah, you shot him early enough in the evening. We had the luxury of kind of soaking it in a little bit and enjoying the work on this one. We knew we probably weren't going to have to put headlights on for this one.
Yep.
So it was an enjoyable cut up session. Like it was easy. I mean, we knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think where I was going with that.
We knew what we were doing. We pulled it off. We put it all together.
Had the daylight.
It was relaxing. We didn't have to turn our headlights on until the pack out.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be our last one, and it's probably going to be years before we go up and do that again. So.
Yep.
I mean, talk about a trip of a lifetime. I mean, you guys knew that.
Yep. It was a sweet ending to the trip. I mean, we went through a lot up there and making camp and then cooking every day and making sure everything.
But Ross, I want to know, like, I want the detail of, like, I don't want to skip that detail of, like, you walking up and, like, grabbing this thing. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know, like, your mindset, your reaction, like, what emotions, like, you guys are going through when you...
So, I walked up there. I mean, we all walked up there together. Mm-hmm. And Austin was running my phone. Cody was right there with me. We ended up picking him up and looking at him. I mean, he's just so damn cool. And I told him right off the rip, I'm like, this wasn't the Mega. The Mega was right ahead of him. But
he was the big bull of the trip. Like, he was a damn good bull.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't change it for nothing. I mean, that situation where I was sitting there waiting on the big boy to come get done breeding her and then come out and hopefully get a shot at him.
Yeah.
I look over my shoulder and here comes this one that I end up shooting. Like, it was a no-brainer for me.
Right.
Like, we're ready to go home, and he's big, and boom, I laid the crosshairs on him and dropped him. So I wouldn't do anything different.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd been fun. It'd been real fun if I would have got that first bull that I shot with a bow. But
was that bull bigger?
No, but he was a beautiful bull. I mean,
right.
It would have been a really good bull to shoot. And
when can I hit play on this video? When does it make sense?
Do that one right now.
Let her eat.
So this is a recovery video.
Okay, I got you.
This is 4K, so I hope you can handle that.
It's a little good quality. Yeah, back her down to 720 for me. That's a big bowl, dude.
He's got a cool lobster claw on the left side. His brow tines are like lobster clawed on the left side.
Yeah, he's got a lot of character. It's a beautiful bull.
Awesome,
the bodies
man.
are so huge, man. I'm telling you.
God, that thing's big. I'm surprised you can pick his head up like that. Honestly,
Cody helped me.
He got him up there.
Once we got him in position,
he posed nice.
He posed good.
That's a beautiful bull.
But yeah, I couldn't. I mean, it was like all fours pushing up on him.
Man, that is awesome.
And it's crazy too. I mean, he's a beautiful bull, but the mega that was ahead of him, he was a monster, like humongous.
Really?
And then the few other ones that were back at camp when we
saw some bulls that were touching 70 up there at camp.
They were humongous.
How big his face is, dude.
I got a long nose. And that cartilage will cut you, I'm telling you. We got into that cartilage and opened him up. I still got the cut on my hand right there.
Really?
That shit's sharp. I got cut on the ribs once and then nose cartilage on the other one. Never got the knife, though. Ross got the knife.
Yeah, I got the knife right to the end of the finger.
Really?
It's all right, though.
Honestly,
I bled more than that moose did, but
going up there, though, that was our biggest concern.
Yeah.
One of us cutting ourselves or something and having an issue that way.
It's a major problem.
Yeah.
And by the time we got to Ross's moose, I'd say we were pretty comfortable.
Yep.
We weren't worried about it.
I had hair stuck in my knife, and I tried to pull it out and slice my finger.
That's a dandy, Ross.
Yeah, thank you, man. No, he's a beauty,
man.
And I guess I'm more proud of standing up flat-footed and just shouldering that rifle and dropping him.
That's not an easy shot.
That was tough.
Got the Leupold cover on the rifle.
Oh yeah.
I can't hit a clay pigeon if my life depended on it. But
Well, and so what was it, day 6? We realized the scope had moved like a quarter inch.
yeah, that's right.
Shit.
I forgot about that.
The scope was canted a little bit, so Cody, being the mechanic that he is, he loosened the scope up and turned it back on its axis and tightened it back up, and luckily everything was still true enough to make it happen.
It hit right where I wanted it to.
Yep.
So good job, Cody. But yeah, it was canted.
Damn.
I mean, it was all jacked up.
How much does a bull like that weigh?
1,400.
How old is a bull like that, you think?
I have no idea. The only thing I can say is the quarters on mine, without the head, just the quarters and all the meat, with the bone still in the quarters, was 580 some pounds.
Oh, what? Hold on. Say that again.
The quarters without the head, just all the meat with the bone still in the quarters, was 580 pounds.
No kidding.
And he's not a huge bull.
Yeah, and mine was 6 something with the head.
With the head, yep. So about the same size.
And do you know what yours was?
I don't. They hadn't weighed it yet or shipped it yet, so
Wow.
I don't know.
A little bigger, I'm assuming.
I'm telling you what, though. I mean, I think all three of them were
Body-wise,
the same
probably about
size.
the same.
Body-wise,
Yeah.
they were all the same. I mean,
It's hard to tell, like, from not being there, I can tell that Ross's bull is bigger than your guys's, but I can't tell, like,
body-wise.
I don't know for sure. Like, I could tell you how much bigger, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it's got wider paddles. The paddles are probably a little longer, and then the spread's better. So I'm guessing Ross's is probably in the 40s, and my bull was in the 30s.
Yeah.
And Cody, your bull was probably close to 40, probably kind of in between my bull and Ross's bull.
Very cool, man. What a cool animal.
Oh, they're, like I said, just the uniqueness of them. When you can see a pile of 10 or 15 of them sitting there and get to admire each one, they all have their own characteristics and makes them each cool.
Man, congratulations, guys. What a successful hunt.
Thank
You killed
you.
3 moose for a DIY hunt, really going in after it and figuring it out. I mean, that's a big deal. Congratulations, man. That's an accomplishment.
Yep. In my opinion, it couldn't have been any better. I had a great trip with you guys. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Alaska, I think, is going to have a special place in our hearts forever. I mean, we're probably going to take other trips up there, but this one's going to be pretty special.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
I think we all kind of set out. I mean, I know I did. Like, this is a trip of a lifetime, but I wanted that moose on my fireplace, and
that's a photo
Look
right
at that
there,
one.
man.
Bam.
yeah, that nasty old brow tine all hooked out like that. It's pretty cool. But I mean, this was a trip of a lifetime for sure. I mean, it's not easy to take this trip. You got to plan way in advance. And
what's up with the hoof?
Look at his toenails.
I don't know, man. I mean, the hoof is just hanging out there like a donkey that just got foundered out.
What, found it out?
Foundered, yeah.
Oh.
So cattle, horses, whatever can get foundered on grain, and that their hoofs will do that. So I don't know.
Foundered? What's that mean?
They eat too much grain.
Oh, really?
Yep. And most of the time kills them.
That's pretty wicked. The moon coming up that night was wicked cool.
Cody is photo.
There's them
on
back
that one.
straps.
Damn. I like that. That looks awesome. Man, good work, fellas.
The next day, do we right there? That was a good
picture.
one.
That's beautiful.
Do we have the takeoff?
Yep, it's right behind it.
Let's watch that. Yeah, we got some cool pictures.
Oh,
there.
man.
There you go. There's them Leupold.
There's them
shades for you.
Leupolds.
Leupold shades are the shit, aren't they?
I said
They
Austin
are.
Chandler with the Leupolds and my moose.
Them Leupold shades, though, are
I know.
I'm wearing them every day.
Dude, it's the only pair of sunglasses that I haven't shattered because I like them so much.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're real glass.
Yeah, that's a nice thing. All right, where are we at here? Let's
You were on it.
down. Where the hell were we at?
Once you got past those pics,
What was I going to? What was I trying to find?
the fly out.
Fly. Oh yeah, right here. This stuff,
It's
right?
pretty gnarly. So this is not a long takeoff.
He's flying in. It's the next.
Oh, this is the fly in. I
Yeah.
wish we would have got the fly over.
Yeah, I didn't get to fly over.
This?
Any of them.
Nope.
Yeah.
It was one right after that last one.
That's the last video I got on here.
Just go ahead and watch him land. It's pretty
What's this?
sweet.
This is taking off.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's us leaving. You were on the takeoff.
That's what you wanted to take off?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so
It's wild. I mean, for
It's
me,
pretty-
one of the coolest parts of the whole trip was the planes, like the float plane experience.
Yep.
That was a pretty big part of the trip for me. I was terrified for one to get on one, and once I did, I'm like, holy shit, man, I want to do this all the time. These things are cool.
Those things are neat.
It's just so smooth, and like I said, it's. I felt as safe in one of those as I felt in any plane I've ever been.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
You can feel the wind a little bit when the conditions are sketchy, but I guarantee you I'd rather be on that plane than any big airliner I've ever been on.
That is cool, man. You guys are a bunch of studs.
Well, it was a really tough hunt, but I think we'd all do it again. I mean, we got a system down now, so.
So when I'm ready to go on one, who's coming with me? Because I want somebody that's been there before.
It'd be hard to sit at home when you know your buddies are going up to Alaska.
No
I
kidding.
mean, after going up there and doing it.
And
My
Ray-
biggest thing is the price of it, and I know like it's cheaper doing it the way you guys did it, but
Still very expensive.
I do think there are cheaper ways you could do it. Like, I haven't done any research, but you can get up there and do this hunt cheaper, but you're just not going to have some of the same luxuries that we had with Papa Bear. That it's nice to have a lodge and a base camp.
I think the way you guys did it would be like the baseline of what I would want to do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I don't think I'd want to suck anymore. Like, you know what I mean? For a guy where, like, for me, if I went, it would be like, this is the one time you're going to get to go hunt moose. Like, you're not going to get to go 3 times.
Do it with Papa Bear. If you're
Yeah.
going to do it once, do it with Papa Bear. Get up there and get it done on the first trip.
Yeah. Because honestly, it's like moose has always been at the top of my list. I got it tattooed on me. Like, I've always wanted to do it. And it's just one of those things, like, if I did it, committed to it, kind of like, you know, you guys committed hard to this. Of course, you have to if you're doing it. It would be the one and only time I probably ever get to go.
Yeah, it's a once in a lifetime.
Unless someone was like, hey, dude, we're going to pay for you to go, which, you know, that's not a thing that happens.
Yep.
So,
Right.
but you know what I mean? Like, if I'm
Yep.
going, I'm I'm going, and that's it. So, but you guys killed it. 3 moose in 8 days, 9 days,
8 days,
8 days,
8 days
in the
of
field.
hunting.
We
10
were
days in the field.
We were in the field 10 total days.
It's impressive.
Yep.
It is impressive. That's pretty quick. 3 moose. I mean, in my eyes, I'm like, damn, you kill. I knew you guys all had tags. I'm like, man, a moose is gonna take a long time to get out. You might have 2 days.
If we would have all been in that second camp, 6 days, 7 days, we'd have come out with some good ones, I think.
It's hard to say. You lose roughly a day by the time the moose is flown out and stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, if somebody kills the day before, you kind of lose part of that next day because you've got to get the moose on the plane out of there. So you're losing part of the day.
Yep. Exit prep, if you will.
Yep. But no, like I said, I wouldn't change much about it at all.
I love it, man. Let's get number 1 takeaways and then like a positive and negative from the trip from everybody before we leave. Austin, you're nodding a lot. I'll let you go first.
My biggest takeaway is if you want to do a trip like this, don't be afraid to do it. Like, you're never going to have the time or the money or whatever to do a trip like this. Plan it out. 3 or 4 years, 5 years, whatever it takes. Make the commitment, put the deposit down, whatever it takes to get you seriously into this hunt, and just start planning for it and save for it. I mean, we dreamed about it for years. You never really think it's a reality. You just kind of dream about it, but you can get up there and you can do it. I mean, it's a very real hunt. We had a blast with it.
Yep.
Ross?
All right. So I'd say I kind of echo a little bit of what Austin just said. I mean, just get up there and do it. I mean, and when you get up there, I guess the biggest takeaway I would say is get aggressive. If they're not responding to the calls, jump on it and do it. I mean, it's affordable. You can do it. I mean, it's a lot of money, but if you save and put away for it, you can pull this off. I mean, it's and the place that we went to, the second place we went to, could easily be done with a bow, but I was just as happy as I could ever be, I guess, taking one with a gun, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat. There's you have the opportunity. You can kill them with a gun. You can kill them with a bow. It just take that lunge and put the money aside and go for it. So,
I like it. Cody, takeaways?
No, I totally agree with both points that Ross and Austin made. I'd say that a big factor for me was the 2 guys I went with. I think you need to know the guys you're with, and you're going to rely on them. It's a pretty big deal when you get up there in that atmosphere. These guys, we all did different parts planning. Kind of played different roles and stuff. All had different parts that we did. As far as Austin set up a lot of the logistics, Ross did a lot with the shipping and prep work as far as shooting the guns and bows and kind of arrow setup and everything. So definitely make sure you have that mix where everybody kind of has their role.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Like I said, it was a big deal. For me, as far as, like I said, these guys were awesome. As much as part of my kill is me pulling the trigger.
For sure. It's a team effort. It's not just you doing it out there. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I've never been involved with more of a group hunt than what we went on. Like it was a goal for everybody to shoot a moose, but it was a goal for everybody to come out of there. That's a goal that you make for yourself, is for the whole group to be successful. So it was nice to see everybody get an opportunity and come out and be successful. Yeah.
I'm jealous a little bit, not gonna lie. Like like that type of hunt experience is cool as fuck. Like it's pretty badass. And you guys killed it. Congratulations.
Appreciate it, my man.
I'm glad we did this podcast when we were able to do it so quickly. Ross and I talked, I'm like, dude, we got to do it quick, because once deer season pops off, we're 3 weeks into deer season, people just care about whitetails.
Yep.
So we got to do this while it's fresh, and get it rocking, get it cranked. And I know it looks sad that this got cranked before the mule deer podcast, but when you got one of the guys that was on the mule deer hunt, elk hunting, you you can't bitch at a guy for, you know what I'm, it's just the way it works. So it's good. It's good problems to have.
Oh yeah.
Your boys are out chasing elk. He's chasing elk with his old man, Devin was.
Very cool.
I haven't got an update yet. I don't know if he got one or not, but he might fly in and Clint might fly in. So
very cool.
We'll see. And I'm trying to get Devin and Trey to come in and hunt some whitetails.
That'd be even better.
I got a couple leads on a piece for them for like a 2-week lease, pretty much. Trying to get them to kill a decent whitetail or two. Be kind of cool.
Hell yeah.
Cody, I got to say you killed it. First time ever being on a podcast. You seemed very comfortable and like you've done it before. Honestly, I give you a 10 out of 10 rating.
Appreciate the opportunity.
What do you think?
It feels weird to be in the same, like I haven't seen these guys. We've been home, 5 or 6 days?
Yep.
We haven't been together since the trip, but when you spend 2 weeks with somebody and then you get back with them, it's like you just kind of pick up where you left off.
Just like riding a bike, man.
Good friends are like that, dude.
We've been friends for years, but it's just kind of different now after going through an experience like that. It's hard to really even put a grasp on what it is. But
I can't remember who I was talking to about my mule deer trip when I was with Devin and Clint. I was like, I look at them different, but in a good way.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like we've been through some shit.
Yep.
So you just kind of like, if shit goes off, they're your boys. Like you want them there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's a good feeling to have with your buddies. The last thing you want is somebody that's going to flake off on you. And then you're like, hey, how are you going to leave me hanging, you know?
Want to spend the night out in the timber.
We had every opportunity to flake off. But
yeah.
We didn't. We held strong.
Well, you guys killed it. Congratulations. Trip of a lifetime. If there's anything you guys want to close out with, take it. But if not, I'm going to shut her down.
I got nothing. I just want to thank everybody for reaching out. I mean, God, how many messages and
that's the deal,
everything else of people just supporting us, man. Congratulations, or can't wait to hear about the trip on the podcast. I mean, it's very cool to have the support that we do from the working class family. So thank you guys.
Yep, I agree.
100%. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much, and congratulations on everything. It's been killer. And guys, thank you so much for listening. Episode 474. We wouldn't be to this point without you guys listening and supporting us on Patreon, supporting us on our store at Working Class Bowhunter, buying hats, buying shirts, buying stickers, sharing it up, coming to see us at trade shows, now supporting us on the new series Working Class on DeerCast. Like it's just been amazing. We wouldn't be to where we are without the listenership that you guys provide, and it's, we've done it all by just being real motherfuckers and kind of just doing what we do. And honestly, it's like the more we think about it and the more we get into it, the more it's been a hard climb. It's almost 7 years and then the making of hustling every day, and to just have you guys support us the way you guys have. And like Austin said, the Instagram messages and the well wishes. And, when this DeerCast series popped off, it's like, my wife even brought this up to me. It's like, it's cool seeing your guys as listeners that have been around be happy for you guys to get to a point. Like, cause it's not like there's no negative comments. There's no it's all positive feedback, and it's people like building us up. Like, man, it's cool to see you guys with the juries. Like, you guys are trying to do shit. It's cool. Like that's a really good feeling.
Yeah. They're rooting for us. It's cool. They're kind of along for the ride.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what we want to do, right? Like, we want to have these people more involved. And if you're not on DeerCast, check it out. Get on DeerCast. If you already have Onyx Premium, you get a free DeerCast subscription now. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but get on there, make an account and interact with us on that Working Class on DeerCast series, because when we go and record on that, we're going to pull a lot of feedback and a lot of comments and a lot of interaction from all that stuff in DeerCast inside of it. So we want you guys to be a part of that as much as we can be a part of it, and bring you in that with us, and kind of make an inside community inside Working Class on DeerCast, and get you guys more involved as we go on. And it's twice a month right now, but starting in 2022, it's going to be weekly. So I'm going to be in that DeerCast comment section, basically just like pulling names from it. Like, we might have you guys on as guests talking about what you're doing in that area. Like, we need co-hosts, we need guests. We're going to be looking at that stuff. And if you're in there, comment and supporting, and like, we're going to reach out and get after that. But my point is, thank you for supporting us. It means a lot. It's pretty crazy. We're killing mule deer, we're killing moose, and whitetail season is just ready to kick off here. So I think we're happy no matter what happens to the whitetails, but we're looking forward to deflating some more lungs, if you will.
But just getting started.
Just getting started. So thank you for supporting us. Episode 474. You know what to do. Go shoot your bow. We love you. Later.